Chapter 45:13. A crazy roar rang out, stunning the surrounding people. How could a toad be so powerful? Who are these two people? The toad flew back and sneered. You can't even withstand a single blow from me. Cousin, help me kill him. The man's face recovered and he looked at Bai Tsangqiong. His face was filled with anxiety and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Bai Tsangqiong walked out with a cold face. How dare you snatch what I want? Very well, it has been a long time since someone dared to challenge me. Today, I will personally send the two of you to hell. His eyes flickered with cold killing intent. He was like the divine king of the 9 heavens, looking down. The toad also frowned. It had to be said that this guy was indeed strong and had the right to be arrogant. Lin Xian looked at the other party. You are a genius of Misty Peak, right? It's not easy for you to cultivate to your level. It would be a pity if you died. How about this? Seeing that the heavens are virtuous, I'll give you a chance. He stretched out a finger and said, one move. If you can block my move, I will not interfere in this matter and Luo Fifan will be at your disposal. If you can't block it, then kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake. I will spare your life. The surrounding people went crazy. Why was this scene so familiar? This was what Bai Tsangqiong said to Luo Fifan. However, they did not expect that the tables would turn. In the blink of an eye, someone said such words to Bai Tsangqiong. However, did this guy have the strength to say such words? Bai Tsangqiong was a Sage King expert. He was ranked 20th in Misty Peak. He was extremely powerful. He could defeat an expert of the same level with just a finger. Perhaps only the scarier geniuses of Misty Peak could defeat such a person. The others had no hope at all. I, Bai Tsangqiong, have lived for 2,300 years. This is the first time someone dared to say such words to me. Kid, you have completely angered me. I want to see how you can defeat me with a single palm. Lin Xian looked calm and said indifferently. You should make the first move. Alright, use all your strength. It would be best if you could burn your law. Otherwise, you won't have any chance. You are courting death. The people of White Cloud Grotto roared madly. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. However, Bai Tsangqiong waved his hand and stopped them. He stared at Lin Xian, his eyes shining brightly. You are very arrogant. I have never seen such an arrogant person. That's why I decided not to kill you. After I suppress you, I'll make you my battle servant. I want to torture you every day. I want you to know the consequences of offending me. After saying that, he stretched out another finger. It was the firmament divine finger. Did he need to use all his strength to deal with a stranger? What a joke. He could sweep away everything with a single finger. Luo Fifan would be defeated, and so would Zhang Xian. A single finger moved the universe, causing the winds and clouds to change. This attack seemed to be even more terrifying than the one that had defeated Luo Fifan. This kid was probably going to die for sure. He was too arrogant and didn't know who Bai Tsangqiong was. Well, it wouldn't be a pity for such an arrogant person to die. The surrounding people sneered. Luo Fifan was also extremely nervous. His life was in the hands of Lin Xian. If Lin Xian was defeated, Bai Tsangqiong would definitely not let him go. His fate would be worse than death. Therefore, he prayed that even if Lin Xian couldn't defeat him in one move, it would be enough if Lin Xian could defeat him in one move or even take him away. He didn't expect Lin Xian to defeat Bai Tsangqiong because he also thought that it was impossible. Facing the firmament divine finger, Lin Xian also stretched out a finger and pointed it out. With his finger, the boundless sword light seemed to have turned into a divine sword, piercing through the heavens and earth. Did this guy also want to defeat someone with a single finger? What a joke. He was too arrogant. Countless people went crazy. They had never seen such a reckless person. However, when this finger was pointed out, everyone was stunned. There was very little sword chi on the fingertip, but it rushed to the 9 heavens and shone with cold light. A sword came from the west, flying immortal. Everyone's body seemed to have been destroyed by this sword light. After that sword, Lin Xian retracted his finger. With a crack, heaven and earth split apart, and a big crack appeared. Everyone was shocked. The whole space was split open. What about Bai Tsangqiong? They turned their heads and saw Bai Tsangqiong's firmament divine finger fixed in the void. A black dot appeared on that side, and then it quickly split open. Puff! Blood burst out, and the firmament divine finger was destroyed. Not only that, but one of Bai Zhangqiong's arms also split open. Everyone could see that his bones were broken. Bai Zhangqiong covered his arm and kept retreating. His eyes were wide open, and he couldn't believe it. What happened just now? When he was full of confidence, a sword enveloped him, and then he felt as if his whole arm was crippled. He couldn't use his strength anymore. Then there was endless pain and fear. His mind was blank, and he could only hear countless exclamations around him. Was he defeated? How was that possible? Those people from the White Cloud Cave were so scared that their bodies trembled and they almost knelt on the ground. Their god, Bai Zhangqiong, couldn't even block a single finger of his opponent? Was the gap between them really so big? He won. Luo Fifan also couldn't believe it. He no longer dared to harbor any killing intent towards Lin Xian. He looked at Lin Xian as if he was an ant facing a god. Bai Zhangqiong defeated him with one move, but Lin Xian defeated Bai Zhangqiong with one move. His opponent's strength was more terrifying than he had imagined. It was no wonder that his father was so respectful. It seemed that the gap between him and his father was really too big. Not only was there a gap in cultivation, but even his father's eyesight was so bad. You've lost. Kneel down and kowtow, Lin Xian said lightly. His voice brought everyone back to reality. Then, countless exclamations rang out. Wow, what did I just see? This kid really did it. Who exactly was he? Bai Zhangqiong felt as if he had been struck by lightning. You want me to kneel down and kowtow? Are you kidding me? Damn kid, who are you? The wounds on his body were shrouded by the law and quickly healed. You don't deserve to know who I am. You just need to fulfill your promise. I'll take him away and you'll kowtow. You want me to kowtow? Dream on. I was careless just now. Now I'll tear you to pieces. He shouted angrily and charged over. His whole body was like a wisp of smoke, and he instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. He must personally tear Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian sighed. It seemed that he didn't know what was good for him. His body swayed, and he turned into an afterimage, dodging the sneak attack from behind. Then he threw out a punch. With a crack, his opponent's palm shattered into a bloody mist. Damn it, why is his strength so strong? Bai Zhangqiong retreated again. He realized that it was a mistake to fight in close combat with Lin Xian. Chapter 45:14. After Lin Xian attacked for the first time, he took a step forward and raised his knee. Like a heavenly hammer, he slammed it on the other party's body. With a bang, the other party lost all feeling in his legs. He lowered his head and found that his legs had turned into a bloody mist. In the next moment, he saw a golden palm grabbing his head and pressing it to the ground. With a bang, he was hit so hard that his head was bleeding, and the ground kept shaking. This was the Antiquity City. It didn't shatter, but his head was smashed. Not only that, the power spread throughout his body, making him unable to resist at all. Then, a foot stepped on his head. Since you don't know how to kneel, I'll teach you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The surrounding people were stunned. The battle between the two was too fast. It was over in the blink of an eye. So when they reacted, they saw Bai Zhangqiong lying on the ground like a dog with his head stepped on. Lin Xian was still calm, as if he had done something insignificant. Impossible, I'm not dreaming, am I? The people of White Cloud Grotto Heaven slapped their faces. They wanted to wake themselves up. However, they found that it was indeed the case. The other spectators swallowed their saliva. This was really a ruthless person. He actually dared to attack like this. The other party's strength was too strong. He was simply beating up Bai Zhangqiong. Since when did such a powerhouse appear? Why didn't they know at all? Could it be that he came from another region? Bai Zhangqiong was stunned, but in the next moment, he came back to his senses. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His lungs were about to explode. Damn it, he had lived for more than 2,000 years and had never been suppressed like today. He couldn't stand it. But that foot was like a coiling dragon. He couldn't resist at all. He could only roar. Elder Lu, kill him. Kill him for me. Elder Lu, who was the woman who played the zither earlier, shouted. The pupils of the old man beside Luo Fan shrank. Not good, he was injured by Elder Lu earlier. This Elder Lu was a mid-stage saint venerable. Moreover, the saint artifact in his hand was even more terrifying. Even if this young man was strong enough to defeat Bai Zhangqiong, he had no chance of winning against Elder Lu. The difference in cultivation between Saint Kings was just that terrifying. No matter how powerful one was, it would be difficult to bridge the gap. Lu Qin frowned when she saw this. She was indeed an elder, and a very young one at that. She was only 3,000 years old. She was only a few hundred years older than Bai Zhangqiong, but her cultivation was a realm higher than his. The reason why she had come this time around was because Bai Zhangqiong had spent a large sum of money to invite her. She had always thought that Bai Zhangqiong was very powerful. As long as she didn't encounter any of those older generation figures, she wouldn't have to make a move. There were even fewer people among the younger generation who could defeat him. There were only a dozen or so people who were ranked higher than him in the ethereal peak. Moreover, he might not even encounter it. But now, an unfamiliar youth had jumped out and beaten Bai Zhangqiong to such a state. This truly surprised her. She hadn't even reacted to it before. At this moment, her expression darkened and she said in a deep voice, "Young man, you've gone too far. Remove your feet and kneel to receive your punishment. The ethereal peak is not something you can challenge." Punishment? Lin Xian laughed as well. Were the people of the ethereal peak all so arrogant? Did they really think that they were gods? Seems like you guys are too superior. Today, I'll teach you guys a lesson. You can't go against the ethereal peak. Lu Qin shook her head. The ethereal peak had been standing here for tens of thousands of years, and no one could change that. Was the 6 grotto heavens strong? Even if they joined forces, they still weren't a match for the ethereal peak. What could a young man do? Let go of him. This is my last warning. Are you dreaming? Lin Xian snorted coldly. I've said it before. Even if he lost the previous competition, I wouldn't take his life. But after he lost, he wanted to kill me. Then he can't blame me. Did he think that no one would dare to touch him just because he was a genius of the ethereal peak? What a pity. Lin Xian didn't say anything else. He stomped his feet and shattered the other party's body. His palm turned into a dragon-shaped sword qi and pierced through the other party's soul. Boom. Bai Zhangqiong didn't even have time to scream before his soul was destroyed. How dare you kill him? Lu Qin stood up abruptly with shock in her eyes. How was she going to explain to the ethereal peak when she returned? One had to know that this was a genius ranked 20th. His future achievements wouldn't be any weaker than hers. He might even surpass her. How could he die outside just like that? He would be punished when he returned. Moreover, the other party was from the Bai family. The Bai family was extremely powerful in the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. He was simply a genius. Who would dare to kill such a person? But now, there was someone who didn't know what was good for him and really killed him. The surrounding people were also going crazy. It was as if they could already foresee that a bloody storm was about to blow over. These people retreated frantically. Lu Qin stood up and said coldly, "Since he's dead, you'll be buried with him." A cold light flashed in her eyes. With a flick of her hand, a guqin appeared in front of her. It was the Fengming guqin. The sound of the guqin was bleak, like the cry of a phoenix, soaring through the 9 heavens. Qi, at this moment, played with all his strength. The surrounding people tried their best to resist, and they felt that their ears were about to burst. Lin Xian struck out endless sword qi, which turned into a world of sword Dao. But in an instant, it was also shattered. Middle stage Saint King was indeed powerful. He opened up his divine body to resist. Those sounds fell on his divine body, making the sky shake. He kept retreating. What's wrong with this guy's physique? He's still alive. Although Lin Xian was retreating, it was like a bolt from the blue in the eyes of the crowd. Even Bai Zhangqiong would be turned into ashes in an instant when facing such an attack. But the other party was only pushed back. What kind of physique was this? The old man from the Luo family was originally in despair, but when he saw this scene, hope was restored in his eyes. With this young man's physique and his help, The two of them might have a chance to escape if they joined forces. So he took a deep breath and prepared to join forces with Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a flick of his finger, a black figure appeared in front of him. The roar resounded in all directions, blocking the sound of the guqin. He actually blocked it. The old man from the Luo family was stunned. The surrounding people were also stunned. Some of the experts' pupils constricted. The demonic shadow. Not good, retreat. The demonic shadow is here. They had all been attacked by the demonic shadow before, so when they saw this scene, they were all traumatized and retreated. This kid was really unlucky. Not only was he being chased by Elder Lu Qin, but there was also such a terrifying demonic shadow. He probably couldn't escape death. In the eyes of the crowd, Lin Xian was dead for sure. The old man from the Luo family's expression changed drastically. He couldn't imagine how the situation would change with the arrival of such a terrifying demonic shadow. But soon, everyone was stunned. They realized that the demonic shadow didn't attack. Instead, it stood beside Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. You've lived for 3,000 years and have an advantage in cultivation, so you can beat me? You want to kill me? Why don't you try? Go kill him. Lin Xian ordered. The demonic shadow in front of him roared and turned into a black lightning bolt, charging over. It waved its claws, destroying mountains and rivers. Chapter 45:15. The void in front of him kept shattering. The surrounding people were stunned. Oh my God, this demonic shadow listened to him. Who is this kid? Could he be a terrifying existence in this unknown region? Thinking of this, their scalps went numb. Elder Lu Qin roared and attacked with her zither music. Those sounds blasted on the demonic shadow, sending out earth-shattering attacks. The demonic shadow did not dodge at all and allowed the attacks to come at him. Many cracks appeared on his body, but there was no blood. He fought all the way until he was in front of Lu Qin. He waved his claws and broke one of Lu Qin's arms, sending her flying. It was too terrifying. This was simply a suicidal attack. However, the demonic shadow did not have blood or soul. He did not seem to be a living being. Even if he died, where could he die? However, Lu Qin was different. If he died, he would not be able to live anymore. In an instant, she was severely injured. Damn it. She quickly retreated. Lin Xian sneered. It was too late to leave now. He continued to attack. The demonic shadow soared into the sky at an extremely fast speed. Black light flashed in the sky, and every attack was like a peerless blade. Damn kid. If you have the ability, fight with me head-on. Lu Qin shouted angrily as she fled. She was so angry that she vomited blood. An ant below the Sage King realm could make her so miserable. Lin Xian sneered. You have the face to say this? Do you dare to suppress your cultivation and fight with me at the same level? Lu Qin did not dare to speak. She could only dodge quickly. The demonic shadow chased after her for a long time. In the end, the two disappeared. Did they leave? The surrounding people were still in fear. They looked at Lin Xian with horror. The eyes of the few experts from White Cloud Grotto Heaven flickered. He killed Bai Kangxing. Let's kill him and avenge Bai Kangxing. Yes, that's right. Capture him and bring him back to tear him into pieces. More than a dozen figures surrounded him. Not good, this kid is in danger. That's right, his biggest trump card should be that demonic shadow. Without the demonic shadow, how could he fight? No matter how strong he was, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. Brat, now that you don't have any trump cards, let's see how arrogant you can be. The Saint King sneered. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wishes. With a wave of his hand, two more devilish figures appeared. With a roar, the two demonic shadows rushed out in a frenzy. At the same time, he also punched out. In an instant, the bodies of the two great Sage Kings were shattered by his punch. Lin Xian made his move, and so did the toad. With the addition of the two demonic shadows, the dozen or so experts from White Cloud Grotto were all killed. The sky was filled with bloody mist as Saint Blood pierced through heaven and earth. The people around felt their scalps go numb. They were too strong even without the protection of the Saint King stage. However, the strength of these people was already heaven-defying. Who else wants to have a taste of my strength? Lin Xian looked around. The surrounding people quickly retreated and left one after another. Lin Xian let out a long whistle and directly gave the order. The demonic figure in the distance flew back. His body was covered in blood, but none of it was his. It was the blood of Elder Lu Qin. Although the other party was not dead, she was seriously injured. After returning, the demonic figure stood respectfully beside Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at Luo Fifan. "All right, now you can teach me the treasure in your body." Luo Fifan did not dare to have any thoughts of resistance. He took out a treasure box from his storage ring and carefully opened it. There was a bronze key inside. After Lin Xian saw it, his eyes suddenly lit up. It was very similar to the bronze key he got, but it was not the same. Obviously, if this was also related to the Qiankuan ancient city, he did not know where it was opened. However, it must be very important. It seemed that this time it was really the right thing to do. Lin Xian was very satisfied to get such a thing. Lin Xian put away the key, then looked at Luo Fifan and asked, "Where did you get this thing? Do you know where it is opened?" "I don't know." "You don't know?" Lin Xian frowned. "How did you get it?" Luo Fifan did not dare to lie. He said, "I got this thing in my family. I found it 3 years ago. At that time, I was still the young patriarch, so I could enter some important places. I found this thing in an ancient pavilion. At that time, it was covered with dust and seemed to have been forgotten. I thought it was some kind of treasure. I studied it for 3 years, but I found nothing. Then I threw it into my storage ring and ignored it. Until the Qiankuan ancient city changed and a new area appeared, this key also emitted light, so I knew. If this is related to the Qiankuan ancient city, it must be a treasure." Lin Xian was shocked when he heard that. So that was the case. It seems that his key opened the Qiankuan ancient city first, which led to the later situation. I guess it has something to do with the Qiankuan palace. When Bai Zongqiong wanted it, he mentioned this name. Qiankuan palace? Lin Xian was stunned. Luo Fifan said, "Of course, it is the real Qiankuan palace, not the Qiankuan palace of my Luo family. I don't know where it is. Young master, can you let me go?" "I can let you go." Lin Xian nodded. "Keep a low profile in the future. Young master, don't worry. I will find a place to hide and will not participate in these things anymore." Luo Fifan's face was pale. He could survive this time thanks to Lin Xian, so he did not intend to take the risk again. Luo Fifan and the old man left. Lin Xian's eyes were shining. "Qiankuan Palace, it seems that we have to go again." "Okay, I can't wait." The toad was also happy, but it asked, "Do you know where that thing is?" Lin Xian smiled. "I don't know, but the people of Misty Peak know. There is the blood of Elder Lu Qin here. We can track his trace and definitely find the Qiankuan Palace." "What are we waiting for? Let's go." The toad could not wait. Lin Xian said, "No, it seems that this Qiankuan Palace is definitely extraordinary. It can attract the attention of Misty Peak. At that time, other grotto heavens and experts will also come. I don't know if early-stage Saint King or even late-stage Saint King will appear. We have to make some preparations." Next, Lin Xian began to look for the Devil Shadow again. He suppressed another Saint King stage Devil Shadow and 2 early Saint King stage Devil Shadows. In total, there were 6 Devil Shadows. This was already the limit. Lin Xian wouldn't be able to control any more than that. Lin Xian felt that this was enough. Next, Lin Xian used his eye technique and used the blood of Elder Lu Qin to determine the location. They moved quickly. Along the way, they encountered many Devil Shadows, but they were directly avoided. The most important thing now was to find the Qiankuan Palace. After flying for about 5 days, they stopped. Lin Xian did not need to use his soul to find the location of the Qiankuan Palace, because the surrounding people gradually became more and more. These people were going in the same direction. They should be going to the Qiankuan Palace. Lin Xian followed these people and flew quickly in the air. Chapter 45:16. The Universal Palace wasn't big, and it was similar to other palaces. It was simple and had a mysterious aura. One didn't need to think to know that there was an independent space inside the Universal Palace. Lin Xian landed on a nearby mountain. There were already many people waiting patiently in the surroundings. There were also some who were rushing over and landing one after another. 3 days later, Lin Xian and the toad were shocked. There were more people than they had expected. It seemed like the Universal Palace was everyone's target. It was Fairy Xueqi. Another voice rang out. Everyone turned around and saw a beautiful figure with an ancient sword on her back descending from the sky. She had a boundless cold aura around her, and there were many people following her. They were Xueqi and the other experts of the Thousand Mountain Paradise. They also landed on a mountain. After Xueqi landed, she looked around as if she was looking for someone. When she saw a red-robed man on a mountain in the distance, her eyes lit up. It seemed like the man was fine. She was relieved. "Husband, how are you?" Xueqi was expressionless, but she quickly transmitted her voice to him. Lin Xian simply told her that he was fine, and she didn't need to worry. Xueqi wasn't the only one who came. Insu and Qin Xianer also came. They followed Elder Tianin. The arrival of the Green Hill Paradise also attracted a lot of attention. After all, they were all peerless fairies. The people of the 6 great paradises had come. The other ancient races and the families of the ancient universe city had also come. What was more shocking was that the Misty Peak had also come. They had occupied the best mountain, and no one dared to approach them. However, some people whispered among themselves. "Did you hear? It seemed that the Misty Peak had lost a genius. How could it be? It seemed like his name was Bai Zhangqiong. What? The genius ranked 20th, Bai Zhangqiong, had died? Who did it? Was this a challenge to the Misty Peak?" Many people cried out in alarm. They didn't know who it was, but they knew that the person who dared to do such a thing must have a shocking background. They didn't know who it was, but it seemed like even Elder Lu Qin had been injured and fled. All kinds of exclamations and discussions were heard. The people of the Misty Peak snorted coldly. One of them emitted an extremely cold killing intent, suppressing the 9 heavens into silence. No one dared to say anything. At this moment, 2 teams flew over from afar. They were from White Cloud Grotto and Violet Spirit Grotto. What were they trying to do? Many people were paying attention. These people streaked across the sky and arrived at a nearby mountain peak. They surrounded a red-robed man. Lin Xian looked around. Had he been discovered? So what? With the 6 great demonic shadows in his hands, he was not afraid of these people. Moreover, he still had other trump cards. "You must be the one who did it," the strong cultivator from the Violet Spirit Grotto said coldly. "How dare you attack the people of the Violet Spirit Grotto? Now no one can save you." The people of White Cloud Grotto also looked cold. "You have the aura of a disciple of our White Cloud Wonderland on your body. Since you dared to kill our people, you will definitely die today." "What? This guy dares to offend 2 grotto heavens." Many people looked at Lin Xian in shock. Some people's pupils shrank. They seemed to have recognized Lin Xian's identity. Lin Xian looked at the 2 grotto heavens and sneered. "Do you have the right to come here? Who ordered you? Is it Lu Qin? Get her to come here herself." "Elder Lu Qin, isn't she an elder of the Misty Peak? This guy actually dares to call her by her name and is so arrogant. Who is this guy?" "Kid, it's useless to say anything. Now, just accept your death." A figure clad in purple armor walked out. This man had an ordinary face, but his aura was unparalleled. He was like a peerless god of war that people looked up to. "ZG, it's actually him. He's one of the top geniuses of the Violet Spirit Grotto. His purple sky divine skill had been cultivated to a very high level. It was difficult for him to find a worthy opponent in the initial stage of the Sage King realm. Even some of the older generation figures were no match for him. To defeat him, one had to be at the middle stage of the Sage King realm. I didn't expect him to come. Is he going to take action himself? Kid, I'll make you wish you were dead later." Another figure walked out from the White Cloud Grotto. The 2 wings on his back were like 2 clouds, and his head was even more ferocious. "Bai Tigu!" Many people exclaimed. They weren't scolding the other party, but shocked. The other party was an expert of the Tiango clan and a top genius of the White Cloud Grotto. It was said that he had once killed 2 sage kings of the same level with a single slash. His strength was unimaginable. Lin Xian looked at the 2 people in front of him and smiled. Are you 2 sure you want to take action? Didn't Lu Qin tell you the truth when she asked you to come? Kid, I know you have some relationship with the Luo clan, but we're not afraid. You're dead this time. Lin Xian shook his head. Looks like Lu Qin really didn't tell them the truth. These 2 are indeed very strong. They're not weaker than Bai Zhangqiong, but if they join forces, they'll definitely surpass Bai Zhangqiong. But so what? Bai Zhangqiong couldn't even block a single finger from me, let alone these 2. I'll be able to kill them in 3 moves. Since you're courting death, then let's do it together. I don't want to waste time. Lin Xian waved his hand and said indifferently. The surrounding people went crazy. The 2 of them together? Does this guy know who he's facing? These 2 are top experts of the White Cloud Grotto. Their unparalleled existences in the early stage of the Sage King realm. Only a middle stage Sage King can kill them. But is this kid a middle stage Sage King? Why do I feel that he doesn't even have the aura of a Sage King? Countless people were shocked, thinking that Lin Xian had gone crazy. In the distance, Qin Xiener and Yin Su were nervous again. This guy is still as arrogant as before. Those who only knew about Lin Xian's background sighed in their hearts. These 2 are dead for sure. He killed Bai Zhangqiong in 1 move. He didn't even need 3 moves to kill these 2. Of course, these people didn't dare to say anything. After all, if they offended Lin Xian, they'd probably end up in a miserable state. They wouldn't forget. Lin Xian knew how to control demonic shadows. Ziji and Bai Tiango were also angry. They sneered. Good boy, no wonder you dare to offend the people of the White Cloud Grotto. You want the 2 of us to attack together? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. After saying that, Ziji waved his hand in the air. Endless purple aura condensed into a huge purple hand and descended from the sky. It carried the laws and was abnormally terrifying. Even a sage of the same level wouldn't be able to block this palm. On the other side, Bai Tiango also made his move. With a wave of his hand, a white blade light descended from the sky like a bolt of lightning. Although the 2 of them didn't use their full strength, it was enough to destroy everything. They even had the confidence to fight against a middle-stage Sage King expert. Lin Xian snorted coldly and stretched out his palms. One of his palms slapped towards the huge purple hand and the other towards the shocking blade light. Bai Tiango and Ziji sneered. Does he really dare to fight against the 2 of us? Does he really think he's a god of war? Chapter 45:17. Boom, boom. An earth-shattering collision sounded as the golden palm blocked the 2 attacks. Otherwise, the attacks of the 2 were destroyed by this palm and turned into dazzling fireworks. How was this possible? He actually blocked it. Was he fighting 1 against 2? The 2 were shocked. The surrounding people were also dumbfounded. Isn't this guy too strong? Lin Xian didn't use any divine abilities and blocked the attacks of the 2 with just his physical strength. In the next moment, he took a step forward and attacked again. He clenched his left hand into a fist, and a resplendent sun swept in all directions, causing everyone to close their eyes. This punch was aimed at Ziji. Boom! Blood spurted out, and Ziji roared as his body was penetrated. There was an uproar below, and Bai Tigu was also stunned. Damn it! His pupils constricted, knowing that he had been careless. This was a very terrifying enemy that he had to fight with all his might. Heavenly Dog swallows the moon. He launched his strongest attack, which turned into a peerless sword light that could split the moon in half. Sword aura shot out from Lin Xian's palm, cutting down everything in its path and shattering that peerless blade light. How was this possible? Bai Tigu couldn't believe that Ziji's full-powered attack was shattered just like that. Before he could react, another sword light struck him and sent him flying. In the blink of an eye, the 2 great experts of the Grotto Heaven were seriously injured. This was only the second move, and it was really unbelievable. At this moment, Lin Xian's third move came out. Endless death laws filled the air, and the death aura turned into arrows of death that pierced through the entire space. ZG and Baitigu roared crazily. Their broken bodies had just healed and they didn't have time to escape, so they had to face such a terrifying death law? They used all their strength to resist, but they still turned into bones in an instant. The death aura disappeared, and Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, and two skeletons fell from the sky. Everyone was stunned. Was the battle over? Those were two experts of the grotto heaven, and they couldn't even block 3 moves from this person? Ants couldn't even withstand a single blow. The toads sneered at the side. The people of the grotto heaven had ugly expressions. Suddenly, an elder shouted angrily, "You're courting death." He was a middle-stage Saint King. Originally, he disdained to make a move, but now, it seemed that this was a trial for young people. But now, the prodigy was dead. He couldn't care less and attacked madly. With a single palm strike, heaven and earth shattered. It was much stronger than the combined attack of Baitiengo and Baitiengo. This was the power of a middle-stage Saint King. Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, the void in front of him shattered, and a black palm slapped out. It collided with his opponent's palm. With a cracking sound, 10,000 bolts of lightning streaked across the sky. Everyone's chi and blood roiled, and they couldn't stand steadily. The heavenly passage's elder retreated, smashing through the void. Her face was pale, and her palm was trembling. There was actually a crack on it. Damn it, what was that? His face was full of shock. He was actually able to injure him. The surrounding people were also stunned. Even a middle-stage Saint King couldn't do anything to Yi Futian? What was that claw? Was it the opponent's trump card? How could this guy be so strong? Qin Xiener and the others were stunned, and even Xue Qi was stunned. What was that black claw? Why did it look like a demonic shadow? Lin Xian said, "You want to suppress me? Dream on. Let Lu Qin come out." But did he not dare to come out? The surrounding people were shocked. Did he chase after Elder Lu Qin? How was that possible? Suddenly, these people were stunned. Wait, they heard a rumor. Could it be that it was him again? Someone killed by Zhangqiong and injured Lu Qin. Was it really him? Killed. At this moment, an angry shout rang out. The sound that filled the sky turned into 81 musical notes that danced in the sky. In an instant, they enveloped Lin Xian and wanted to kill him. Lin Xian shouted angrily, and his black palm slapped out to block them. In the sky, Elder Lu Qin's figure appeared. Her Guqin erupted again, wanting to attack. However, at this moment, a big hand came across the sky, breaking heaven and earth. Below, the endless mountain range shattered, and everyone was shocked. Another expert came. Who was it? Lin Xian turned his head to look. Lu Qin was also angry. Who dares to stop me? Between heaven and earth, a figure appeared in the sky. He was like an overlord, and with every step he took, the void kept splitting apart. At the same time, there was an extremely terrifying cold aura that made everyone's hair stand on end. Even Lu Qin's expression changed. Ming Chen. What? This person was Ming Chen. The experts in the surrounding grotto heavens were shocked, and even the elders sucked in a breath of cold air. Did he actually come here in person? This guy was ranked 3rd on the ethereal list. He was also known as the first physique. He had the physique of the king of hell. This was the king physique of the ancient race, and it was extremely terrifying. Countless people were shocked. Such an expert was much stronger than Bai Tiangue, Bai Zhangqiong, and the others. Even the middle-stage elders had grave expressions on their faces. Ming Chen walked over, emitting the aura of the king of hell. He said coldly, "Elder Lu Qin, let me deal with this person." He had a trump card that could control the demonic shadow. Lu Qin frowned. Ming Chen said, "A mere demonic shadow was nothing to be afraid of." With that, he waved his hand and took out 2 demonic shadows from his storage ring. Then he punched out. With a crack, the 2 demonic shadows were torn apart. They couldn't resist at all. So powerful. Is this the power of the king of hell? It's too terrifying. An elder said. The king of hell was the essence of the ancient race's bloodline. When it grew up, its potential was limitless. Perhaps only those legendary starry sky divine physiques could contend with it. However, this kid obviously didn't have it, so he would definitely die if he encountered the King of Hell. Kid, you're the one who killed Bai Tsangqiong. Since you dared to kill someone on the ethereal list, I'll personally deal with you today. Ming Chen's voice was biting cold, and it carried supreme confidence. He was ranked third on the list, and Bai Tsangqiong couldn't be compared to him. He could kill Bai Tsangqiong with a single palm. King of Hell. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Interesting. You're worthy of me taking action. Lin Xian felt a powerful aura from the other party's physique. To be honest, you're not even a sage king, so you're not worthy of me taking action. Bu Han, since you were able to kill Bai Tsangqiong, it means that you have the strength to fight those above your level. Since you're a genius, I'll make an exception and kill you with my own hands. Everyone was in an uproar. This kid is dead for sure. That's for sure. The King of Hell's physique was famous, and it was ranked third among the younger generation of the ethereal peak. No matter how strong this kid is, he won't be able to resist it. Indeed, since he was able to kill Bai Tsangqiong, I think he has the strength to enter the top 10 of the ethereal list. However, no matter how strong he is, he won't be able to defeat Ming Chen. This kid is in danger. Yin Su's face was grave, and Qin Xianer's face was pale. Xue Qi also clenched her fists. She had heard of the legend of the King of Hell's physique for many years. Now that she saw it with her own eyes, it was indeed powerful. Chapter 45:18. She wasn't doubting Lin Xian. The 9-yang divine body was extremely powerful. Once it was fully unleashed, its power was endless. However, Lin Xian was only a saint venerable, while Ming Chen was already a saint king. He had even become a saint king long ago. At the early stage of the saint king realm, he was an extremely terrifying existence. There was a difference of 2 major realms between them. If they really fought, Lin Xian would probably be at a disadvantage. However, Lin Xian didn't think too much about it. He was indeed surprised to meet the immemorial imperial body. In this way, he would be able to completely let go of his hands and fight a great battle. The previous battles didn't give him enough fun. I hope you won't disappoint me. Lin Xian took a step forward, and a golden flame bloomed from his body. This guy's physique was so strong. Could it be that he was also a body-tempering expert? The surrounding people quickly retreated. Only 2 figures were left in front of them. Lin Xian, who was like a golden god of war, and Ming Chen, who was cold and indifferent, like the King of Hell. He stretched out a big hand and slapped out. A black storm blew between heaven and earth, and the world trembled, destroying everything. But Lin Xian also slapped out with his palm, and the vast world was like the sun. Their palms collided in the sky, and the 2 forces tore everything apart. They were in a stalemate in the sky. So strong he blocked it. The people from the grotto heavens went crazy. This was the immemorial imperial body, and Ming Chen's cultivation was at the early stage of the Saint King realm, 2 realms higher than his opponent. Now, the strength of the 2 sides was actually on par. Could it be that this kid's physique surpassed Ming Chen's? They didn't dare to imagine. Ming Chen's face turned cold, and he no longer had the smile from before. No wonder your physique is so mysterious. It can actually compete with my King of Hell body. I just don't know how many moves you can take. He was completely enraged now. After his palm landed, he kicked out. The King of Hell's law kept spinning, and the rotating power made the kick seem like a high-speed sword that pierced through heaven and earth. As expected of the King of Hell's body, it could turn into a terrifying weapon to attack. Lin Xian roared, and the man-ruler's seal slammed out with his hand, shattering the wildlands. As the kick was deflected, the surrounding void began to shatter. Meanwhile, the place where he stood was completely unaffected, a region of heaven and earth frozen. Boom! In the next moment, he charged out. The 2 of them fought a great battle. Everywhere they passed, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Tens of thousands of mountains collapsed. Wherever he passed, nothing could stop him. The physiques of these 2 people were really too strong. Countless people were shocked. An early-stage Saint King would probably not even be able to withstand a single punch from him. Those from the ethereal peak had ugly looks on their faces. There was actually someone who could compete with their first question. Who was this person? That's enough. I've run out of patience. I'm done with you now. Ming Chen snorted coldly. Now that he was really angry, he did not intend to hold back anymore. Hell King's scythe. A terrifying aura of the king of the underworld emerged from his body, forming a sickle. The scythe was 100 meters tall, like a black mountain. It was held in his hand and slashed down. The entire world was split in half. Boom! Lin Xian struck out with the man-ruler seal again, pressing forward with indomitable will, shattering everything. Ming Chen retreated, his face pale. The king of the underworld's vase. He formed a seal with both hands, and a black vase appeared, sweeping out with a monstrous aura. This power was too strong. And it was very cold. It was as if an ancient king of the underworld had been resurrected. Lin Xian shouted coldly. The mountain-embracing seal. Between heaven and earth, the primordial demon mountain was about to fall. At the same time, he struck out with the invincible sword. The mountain-embracing seal blocked the king of the underworld's vase. The invincible sword slashed at Ming Chen's body, sending him flying. A sword mark appeared on Ming Chen's body, and blood flowed out. It was black blood, and it was abnormally terrifying. Was he injured? Countless people exclaimed. The people from the ethereal peak went crazy. What kind of power could defeat the king of the primordial demon mountain? How dare you hurt me? You're courting death. Ming Chen roared crazily, and the underworld sea surged around him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Terrifying sword intent appeared around him one after another. With an angry roar, the sword chi fell with an incomparable aura, as if it was immortal and indestructible. The inextinguishable sword. This sword illuminated heaven and earth and turned into eternity. The king of the underworld was furious. With another roar, he attacked crazily, and the sky was filled with black aura. It was as if black clouds were pressing down on the city, and two black dragons charged out. Boom, boom, boom. Both of them dissipated between heaven and earth at the same time. Damn it. Ming Chen's expression was ugly. For the first time, he felt defeated. One had to know that he was ranked third in the ethereal peak, and his physique was even stronger. He was known as the #1 physique. There were only two people who could defeat him. But now, there was someone who could compete with him and even hurt him. More importantly, the other party's cultivation was weaker than his. He couldn't stand it. You want to use your trump card against me? You will die without a doubt. Ming Chen roared, but Lin Xian snorted coldly. My sword is indestructible and illuminates eternity. With a roar, the sword chi that had dissipated suddenly emitted an incomparable light. It turned into a divine rainbow and became the only thing in heaven and earth. At the same time, an extremely terrifying dragon roar sounded. It was slashing again. Lin Xian roared angrily, and the power of the great dragon sword's soul surged out, carrying the indestructible will as it slashed down from the sky. Boom! The sky and earth in front of him shattered and turned into nothingness. The earth split open, and tens of thousands of mountains collapsed, filling the air with dust. The surrounding people felt a chill in their hearts. If it were them, they wouldn't have been able to escape from that sword. They wondered how Ming Chen was doing. Could he block it? Everyone was nervous, especially the people of the ethereal peak. Black blood spilled between heaven and earth, and an arm fell from the sky. Ming Chen was injured. Countless people exclaimed. Ming Chen's body was stained with black blood, and one of his arms was missing. His face became extremely ferocious. He was injured. Under that attack just now, he was severely injured. The surrounding people were dumbfounded, and the people of the ethereal peak almost fainted from fright. They knew very well how terrifying the king of hell physique was. But at this moment, he was no match for the other party. Damn kid, how dare you hurt me? I will make you regret it. I will make you wish you were dead. Ming Chen roared crazily. I will show you my true unique skill. God of hell incantation. A crazy roar sounded, and the black law around him quickly swept out. Between heaven and earth, countless black river water surged, and the whole place turned into hell. Is he going to use this unique skill? The people of the ethereal peak were also shocked. Elder Lu Qin and the others also looked solemn. One had to know that only the top two people could make the other party use the God of Hell incantation. Now that the other party had used it, it meant that there was no other way to threaten him. Between heaven and earth, the black thunder condensed into a God of Hell incantation that appeared behind him. He held the God of Hell's treasure bottle in his hand, mysterious. Ming Chen's aura also increased greatly. His broken arm recovered again. Chapter 45:19. The people in the surroundings were frightened, and they kept retreating. At the same time, in the distant void, countless blade lights condensed and slashed everything. A mysterious man descended. He carried a long blade on his back, and the blade will on his body was extremely terrifying. At this moment, he was looking down at the battle in the distance. He even used the god of underworld art? Has he already reached such a stage? It's really hard to imagine. However, when he thought about it, this battle should be over. Once he used the god of underworld art, that lad wouldn't be able to resist it. The peerless expert said calmly. Boom. Along with Ming Chen's movement, the god of underworld image that condensed behind him also walked out. He aimed the black treasure in his hand at Lin Xian, and a terrifying aura appeared and formed a black ball of light. It seemed like it could destroy a world. This aura was really terrifying, and it could even threaten a middle-stage Saint King. Not good. Xue Qi's expression changed drastically. This power was really too strong. Even her 9-in body felt an intense threat. Endless black frost appeared on his body, and it seemed like it could freeze everything. She tried to resist this power. At the same time, she looked at Lin Xian, and her eyes were filled with worry. She didn't know whether Lin Xian could resist this power. The toad also opened its eyes wide, and it secretly used the law. As long as the situation wasn't right, it would immediately take action. Is he going to risk his life? When Lin Xian sensed this terrifying aura and the god of underworld image in front of him, he took a deep breath. Since you have the Taigu imperial body, I will use my body to deal with you. Lin Xian withdrew the sword energy that filled the sky, and at this moment he fully activated the 9-yang divine body. His originally terrifying aura became even more terrifying at this moment. Flames swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, and 9 suns appeared around him. They kept rotating, and it seemed like they wanted to illuminate everything. What a terrifying flame! This guy's body seemed to have become even stronger. Countless people were shocked. They felt their blood turn cold. Is he going to use his body to deal with his opponent? Boom! Lin Xian took large strides and charged forward. With every step he took, the flames between heaven and earth kept roaring, and they turned into flaming lotuses that engulfed everything. The 9 suns around him shone brightly, and he was like a peerless sun god of war. 9 suns' divine fist, splitting the heavens with a single punch. Boom, boom. Not good. Elder Lu Qin's expression changed. The people from the surrounding heavenly abodes also quickly retreated. Even the peerless swordsman who was watching the battle from afar narrowed his eyes. You want to fight me? Cultivate for another 10,000 years. Underworld god incantation. Kill. Ming Chen roared madly. The god of the underworld phantom in front of him pushed out with both hands, and a black beam of light shot out from the treasure in his hands. This was a destructive attack, and the other party would definitely not be able to block it. The black destructive light collided with Lin Xian's fist. An unparalleled aura erupted from his body. Storms swept across the world as laws surged, as if they were about to destroy the entire world. The surrounding people all coughed up blood and were sent flying. It was so terrifying. Even the experts and elders were trying to defend themselves. Their expressions were solemn. If they allowed this guy to continue growing, once he reached the middle stage of the Saint King realm, no one would be able to suppress him. Boom. With everything over, Elder Lu Qin and the others heaved a sigh of relief. The others also shook their heads. No one could challenge the ethereal peak. However, at this moment, in the black storm, a golden flame suddenly lit up, and then it kept spreading. With a crack, the entire world was opened, as if the sun had just been born, shining on the world. The black storm and laws in the sky kept melting. The 9 suns shone on everything, and a fist pressed forward. It shattered the destructive light ball and then charged over. What? He hasn't been defeated yet. Countless people roared. But Lin Xian forcefully shattered the other party's superpower and charged in front of him. Looking at the shocked faces, he punched out again. With a boom, the god of the underworld phantom was directly destroyed. Boom, boom. Then he waved his fist, and the 9 suns bloomed, turning into thousands of golden crows that pounced over. The front was instantly flooded. Billions of suns cracked, and the light made the surrounding people unable to open their eyes. After a long time, when the light weakened, they opened their eyes. How was the situation? Everyone looked carefully, and then they were stunned. The ground in front of them was shattered, and countless canyons were formed. A figure fell on the ground, and his body was covered in blood. Ming Chen, he was defeated, and he was seriously injured. Everyone could already see the other party's internal organs and bones. One could imagine how serious his injuries were. More importantly, they saw a figure descending from the sky. Lin Xian came to the ground. Like a god of war, he took 3 steps and arrived in front of the other party. The immemorial imperial physique was just so. At the same time, he stepped on the other party's body. In the competition of physique, he won. The world was incomparably silent, and the scene seemed to be frozen. Everyone looked at this scene in disbelief. That was the first physique of the ethereal peak. The immemorial imperial physique. How could he be defeated at this moment? This can't be real, right? I'm not dreaming, right? Yin Su and Qin Xiener were dumbfounded. Xue Qi's lips curled into a beautiful smile. This guy's physique seemed to have become stronger again. The toad also laughed proudly. Damn it, let him go. With a roar, the people of the ethereal peak rushed over, their bodies surging with killing intent. Elder Lu Qing also walked over, his eyes filled with cold killing intent, and a terrifying aura swept out. The toad instantly jumped over. What? You want to fight? Kid, kill him. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a trace of cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. A terrifying physique surged out. The 9 suns' divine fire swept out, enveloping Ming Chen. Ming Chen used the Nether River to resist, but he couldn't resist it at all. He had the immemorial imperial physique, but he was no match for the 9 suns' divine physique. Not to mention, he was now seriously injured. In an instant, white smoke rose from his body, and it wouldn't be long before he turned into a pool of blood. How dare you? Lu Qin roared, and the sound of the great path exploded, charging toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the void in front of him cracked open, and a hand shot out, blocking the sound of the great path. At the same time, another elder of the ethereal peak walked out and said coldly, "All members of the heavenly abodes, listen up. Kill this kid." The expressions of the people of the surrounding heavenly abodes changed, and they all stood out. Not good. Xue Qi's expression changed. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, he couldn't resist so many people. Qin Xiener and Yin Su were also very nervous. "Don't attack," she said to the people beside her. Xue Qi also ordered the people of the Thousand Mountain Paradise not to attack. However, apart from them, there were also the experts of the other heavenly abodes, as well as the people of the ethereal peak. At this moment, there were more than 100 people surrounding Lin Xian. Once a great battle broke out, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to resist it no matter how strong he was. Chapter 45-20. A peerless blade light shot towards Lin Xian. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. Lin Xian roared, turned around, and struck out with his palm. The human sovereign seal appeared and slammed into the blade light, emitting an earth-shaking aura. His arm was numb from the impact. So strong, this person's strength is still in the land of darkness. Lu Qin and the others also exclaimed, "Tyranny, you're here too? Great. Hurry up and save Ming Chen." Tyranny? Is he Tyranny, the second ranked of Misty Peak? He was known as the #1 blade. The strength of the top 3 of Ethereal Peak was extremely terrifying. It was simply incomparable. And these three had their own unique characteristics. They were known as the number 1 eye, the number 1 blade, and the number 1 body. The number 1 body was darkness, the immemorial king body, the king of hell body. The number 1 blade was even higher than his opponent. One could imagine how terrifying his blade technique was. As for the number 1 Zhan Songxing, known as the number 1 eye, he was even more terrifying. He cultivated a pair of godly eye techniques. No one could resist his gaze. At this moment, the number 1 blade, Tyranny, shocked everyone. Darkness, you're really a piece of trash. You've embarrassed our misty peak. Tyranny descended from the sky. He stepped in the air like a peerless blade god. Darkness was about to vomit blood. This guy was still in the mood to make sarcastic remarks? He gritted his teeth and roared. Don't say anything else. Let me out first. I owe you a favor. Kid, let him go. Tyranny looked at Lin Xian with an order in their eyes. Elder Lu Qin waved her hand. As long as she gave the order, the experts of the surrounding grotto heavens would attack crazily. At that time, the opponent would definitely die. Facing such a dangerous situation, Lin Xian was not afraid. He snorted and waved his hand. 6 demonic shadows appeared and surrounded him, emitting a monstrous aura. They roared towards the sky, shaking the 9 heavens. What is this? Damn it, those are demonic shadows. What does this guy want to do with them? Lu Qin cried out in alarm. Everyone be careful. This guy can control demonic shadows. Hearing the elder's words, the surrounding people went crazy. They controlled demonic shadows. Who the hell was this guy? Kid, let darkness go. We won't attack you this time. Elder Lu Qin said coldly. She knew that the other party was extremely arrogant. Previously, he had killed Bai Zhangqiong under her threat. If he killed Ming Chen this time, they wouldn't be able to bear the loss. Tyranny's expression also turned cold. Of the 6 demonic shadows, 2 of them had auras that made his hair stand on end. Obviously, he was at the Saint King stage. If they really fought, it would be very easy for this kid to escape. Besides, who knew if this guy had more demonic shadows? The atmosphere froze for a moment. Although he was surrounded by 100 experts, Lin Xian was not afraid. On the other hand, Ethereal Peak dared not act rashly for fear of breaking the vases. The Snow Queen's lips curled into a smile when she saw this. Great. It seems like Lin Xian isn't in any danger. Boom, boom. At this moment, the Universal Palace in front of them suddenly vibrated, attracting everyone's attention. Seizing this opportunity, Ming Chen, who was being trampled on, roared. Ignoring the damage to his life, he split open his body and transformed into countless nether rivers that fled in all directions. Want to escape? Lin Xian snorted and punched out. Save me quick. His voice rang out. Tyranny's sword slashed down and collided with Lin Xian's fist, creating a deafening sound. Lin Xian's fist was blocked. This is a good chance. Seeing that Ming Chen had escaped, Elder Lu Qin sneered. The people around him wanted to attack. Lin Xian snorted. The 6 demonic shadows roared towards the sky, and a terrifying aura erupted. Even more roars came from afar. Not good. There are more demonic shadows coming. This guy isn't going to summon an army of demonic shadows, is he? For a moment, everyone's scalp went numb. Tyranny also said, Elder Lu Qin, let this kid go first. We'll go to the Universal Palace first. Kid, you're lucky. We'll spare your life this time. Next time we meet you, you'll definitely die. Tyranny looked at Lin Xian with murderous intent. Then, he turned around and left quickly with his people. Seeing that Misty Peak had left, the people in the surrounding grotto heavens naturally wouldn't attack again. They also took a deep breath and led their own teams, preparing to explore the Universal Palace. Great. Qin Xiener, Xue Qi, and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Toad also said, You scared me to death. I thought I'd have to run away again. Indeed, with so many experts fighting, they couldn't resist at all. They could only escape. However, if they wanted to escape, these people couldn't hurt them. Lin Xian snorted. The first slash? I'll remember it. Sooner or later, I'll trample you under my feet. His eyes emitted a cold killing intent. With a wave of his hand, he collected the 6 demonic shadows. Let's go to the Universal Palace. He turned into a ray of light and flew forward. In front of him, those people had already arrived at the Universal Palace. They wanted to enter, but they were pushed back by a force. Many people vomited blood, and some people's bodies were even pierced. Damn it, there's a seal. We can't enter. Since we're already here, how can we retreat? Everyone attacked together. An expert roared. They gathered several forces and attacked fiercely. Countless experts attacked together. Their power was really too terrifying. Heaven and earth were shattered. However, the Universal Palace was safe and sound. Damn it, we can't break it. Can we only watch and not enter? The surrounding people gritted their teeth. What's going on? The toad also frowned. He said, Kid, should we use your key to open it? Lin Xian's eyes also flickered. He had just obtained a key from Luo Fifan, but he didn't know where it came from. However, it was said that it was related to the Universal Palace. He was wondering if he really had to use his key to open the Universal Palace. After all, the changes in the Universal Ancient City were caused by the key in his hand. However, those guys just besieged him and wanted to attack him. Should he open the Universal Palace and let them in? He wasn't willing to do that. At this moment, a voice sounded in heaven and earth. Step back, I'll do it. Everyone raised their heads. Who was that? How arrogant. Some people's eyes were cold. They couldn't open the seal with so many of them working together, so how could the other party do it alone? They didn't believe it. But in the sky, a figure descended. At the same time, there was a huge pressure. Everyone felt as if their souls were about to split open. They saw a pair of cold and emotionless eyes, as if the eyes of a demon god were looking down on them. What a terrifying eye technique. This person was an expert in eye techniques. Even Lin Xian was surprised. What a powerful eye technique. He used heavenly secret god eyes to block it. The toad also frowned. Damn, an expert came out. The people of Misty Peak laughed. They didn't expect Zhan Zongxing to come. Great. Zhan Zongxing? Was it him? Ranked first on the Misty list, and in the hands of tyranny. He was the legendary number 1 eye. The heavenly secret god eye technique was extremely powerful. One glance could kill a saint. Chapter 45-21. The first eye, Zhan Zongxing, wore a Taoist robe, as if an immortal had descended. His face was handsome, and his black hair danced wildly. His eyes were even more bizarre than before. Everyone was stunned. They only knew that Zhan Zongxing's eye technique was terrifying, but no one had truly seen his eyes. Only a very small number of people had seen it. Now that they saw it, they were all stunned. Lin Xian was also stunned. Why eyes? That's right, the other party's eyes didn't seem to have black pupils, only white. It was extremely strange, making one's scalp tingle. What strange eyes, Lin Xian was surprised. Toad also exclaimed. This was spirit-extinguishing eyes. What was spirit-extinguishing eyes? Was it very powerful? Lin Xian asked. It was also a legendary eye. It was incomparably magical. With a glance, it could destroy all life. With his current strength, he could destroy a world with just a glance. So powerful. Lin Xian was surprised. He remembered this name. As expected of Misty Peak, there were indeed many experts. First, there was the immemorial imperial body, then there was the peerless swordsman, and now there was a terrifying eye technique. But he didn't know where this guy got the confidence to break the seal ahead. Relying on his eye technique? The others were also puzzled. Zhan Zongxing was incomparably powerful, sweeping through everything. But no matter how strong he was, he couldn't be stronger than so many of them working together, right? They didn't have a solution. What exactly did the other party rely on? Tyranny's elder Lu Qin walked over. Should they work together? Zhan Zongxing shook his head. No need, I have my own way. Saying so, he waved his hand. His storage ring flashed, and a bronze key appeared in his hand. What was this? Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian exclaimed. The other party also had a bronze key? And from the looks of it, it was different from the other two he had. Could it be that this was the key to opening Heavenly Palace? This was? Elder Lu Qin was also stunned. Zhan Songsheng said that without the key, you can't enter, so only I can open Heavenly Palace. Should they clear the area? Tyrannical ambition looked around with a biting cold gaze. It seemed that they didn't intend to let others enter. However, Life Slayer smiled and said, "No need. Although I can open the Universal Palace, no one knows what is going on inside. Wouldn't it be better to let these people scout the way for us?" "That's true." Tyranny laughed. "Even if these people went in and found any treasures, would they be able to take it away?" Everything belonged to Ethereal Peak. Since they had made up their minds, Elder Lu Qing and the others did not say anything else. They moved to the side and waited quietly. Zhan Songsheng took a deep breath and looked forward with his pale eyes. Then he infused the precepts into the bronze key. The bronze key shone brightly and floated forward. With a cracking sound, it disappeared in front of him. The Universal Palace started to spin as the seal was broken. A desolate aura spread out from the Universal Palace in all directions. The ancient aura made everyone's eyes light up. "Great, it's finally open." Behind him, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. Since the other party had opened the Universal Palace, it meant that the key in his hand was to open another place. Could it be somewhere in the Universal Palace? It's getting more and more interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it won't disappoint me. His eyes shone brightly. Then he followed the others and flew forward. Around them, the Grotto Heaven and ancient race experts could not wait any longer. As soon as the array formation was activated, they rushed in. As soon as they entered, screams could be heard. Some people were turned into blood mist. Some were seriously injured and flew back while vomiting blood. What's going on? The surrounding people were stunned. They did not dare to move forward rashly. They were all bewildered. Stupid. Zhan Songsheng stood in the air with his hands behind his back. Although he was the one who opened the Universal Palace, he did not immediately move. Elder Lu Qing smiled. It seemed that letting them in was the right choice. At least, we know that not everyone can easily explore this place. The rest of us shouldn't have any problems. The other old man turned around and looked at the surroundings. Those from the Ethereal Peak who had come were all experts among experts. However, Tyranny frowned and looked at Dark Star. He said, "You're seriously injured. I think you should stay outside." "Damn it, you dare to look down on me." Dark Star roared, his face cold. "I'm already recovering. I'm fine." "I hope so." Tyranny said coldly, "Don't lose again. Otherwise, you'll embarrass us and Ethereal Peak." Dark Star did not say anything. Losing to Lin Xian really made him lose face. However, Lin Xian's physique was definitely terrifying. It must be a super strong legendary physique. He was not sure yet. But no matter what, she would take revenge. The other Grotto Heavens also began to discuss. Clearly, not everyone could enter the Universal Palace. Those who were weak should not go. Soon, the elders of Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven and White Cloud Grotto Heaven said, "We've already explored. Those below Holy King should stay outside. Those above Holy King, follow me in." Those people agreed. Some of the young geniuses looked gloomy. They were half-step Holy Kings. They were originally dazzling geniuses in the Grotto Heavens. After all, they were only 1,000 or 2,000 years old. Their future was limitless. But in such a dangerous situation, no one cared if you were a young genius or an expert of the older generation. Everything depended on strength and cultivation. Many people stayed. They were unwilling, but there was nothing they could do. The aura inside was enough to destroy them. As for the Holy Kings, they prepared to move. Qin Xiener and Insu also stayed. On the other side, Xueqi met up with the elders of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven and prepared to enter. At the same time, she transmitted her voice to Lin Xian, telling him to be careful. Lin Xian replied, "I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me. You should be careful." Then, the Holy Kings of the Grotto Heavens began to enter, followed by the people of Misty Peak. After the people of Misty Peak entered, Lin Xian and the Toad also began to move. They also entered the Universal Palace. When Lin Xian stepped into the Universal Palace, he felt an extremely ancient aura sweeping toward him. It was as if it wanted to penetrate his body. No wonder those people before were injured. This pressure was unbearable for those below Holy King. Although he was only a holy venerable, Lin Xian's physique was extremely strong. He snorted coldly, and the power of his divine body burst out, blocking the pressure. He turned his head and found that the toad beside him had disappeared. Did it contain the law of space? It seemed that these people were not necessarily together. He did not need to worry about the toad. The toad was knowledgeable and had its own means. It was absolutely safe. Let's see what was so magical about this place. Chapter 45-22. Lin Xian's eyes emitted a golden radiance, which penetrated the surrounding fog. In the next moment he was taken aback. It was Xueqi. He saw a peerless woman walking toward him with an ancient sword on her back. After Xueqi walked over, she looked at Lin Xian and smiled. She sped up and came to Lin Xian's side. She then opened her arms. Lin Xian also smiled. However, in the next moment his pupils contracted. He felt a great power collide with his body and send him flying. His battle robe was torn apart, and there was a mark on his divine body. Did you attack me? Lin Xian was infuriated. In the next moment, his pupils contracted. You aren't Xueqi. His eyes emitted a terrifying radiance, and Lin Xian shot out a beam of sword energy toward his opponent. The sword energy was peerless, and it carried with it the sound of a dragon's roar as it cut his opponent in half. Xueqi's illusory image turned into a dense fog and dissipated. Illusion techniques are so powerful that they even managed to deceive me. Lin Xian was startled. As expected of something created by a great emperor. Even though he possessed the heavenly secret divine eyes, he was still affected by it. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless, and he used the heavenly secret divine eyes with his full power as he walked forward. The fog in front of him became thicker, and after he walked for a while, the fog started becoming thinner. Moreover, he also heard some sounds which weren't sounds of fighting. They were sounds of laughter and talking. Lin Xian was startled. There are so many people here. What's going on? He sped up. In the next instant he passed through the fog. The sun rose in the surroundings, and its radiance shone in all directions. Lin Xian discovered that he had come to a small town. Where is this? Lin Xian was startled. Although the sun was high in the sky, his whole body felt ice cold. He shouldn't have left the Universal Palace as he didn't sense any spatial power. This meant that he was still in the Universal Palace. However, the changes in his surroundings as well as Xueqi's phantom caused Lin Xian to take a deep breath. This is also an illusion technique. Did I just walk into a giant illusion technique? He pushed his heavenly secret god eyes to the extreme, and golden light shone in all directions. However, he could not tell at all. It was as if this was a real world. What kind of method was this? If this was the real world, this would be acceptable. If it was an illusion, Lin Xian didn't dare to imagine it. How powerful was the person who created this illusion? It was definitely not a sage king. At the very least, it was the great sage. It might even have been created by the heaven and earth emperor. In the small town ahead, some youths looked in the direction of Lin Xian and discussed among themselves. Lin Xian walked over and asked what this place was. The eyes of the youths suddenly shone with a shocking light, and they stabbed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian was shocked. What a terrifying eye technique. Were these youths really that terrifying? Golden light appeared in his eyes, blocking the eye technique of his opponent. In the next moment his face sank and a terrifying law was used. The expressions of the youths changed, and they all ran away, leaving the kite on the ground. Not long after, a middle-aged man walked over. The middle-aged man took a step forward with a majestic gait and arrived in front of Lin Xian. Why did Tianlin come so late? Come back with me. Have you finished your mission? After saying that, he grabbed Lin Xian's arm, and an extremely cold light bloomed in his eyes. It was actually a golden rune. Lin Xian felt that his soul was about to be controlled, and his memories were about to be changed. It was as if he was about to become the heavenly forest that the other party spoke of. In the next moment, the power of the heavenly secret god eyes erupted, and a golden light appeared in his eyes, blocking the other party. He snorted coldly, and his divine body shook, blasting the other party's hand away. The middle-aged man's expression changed drastically, and his pupils constricted. In the next moment he smiled. "Sorry, I got the wrong person. I thought you were a disciple of the heavenly secret race. May I know who you are?" The heavenly secret race. Lin Xian was stunned. "You're from the heavenly secret race?" He was really too shocked. One had to know that his eyes were the heavenly secret god eyes, and it was given to him by the heavenly secret race. He didn't expect to see someone from the heavenly secret race. Was this really an illusion, or had he come to a strange world? Lin Xian felt that he couldn't tell. Moreover, the people here were very strange. Previously, this person had clearly wanted to control his soul. If he didn't have the heavenly secret god eyes, his memories would have been changed. Perhaps he would stay here for the rest of his life. Apart from him, did anyone else come in? If the others didn't have powerful eye techniques, would they be able to resist? He wondered how Xueqi was doing. He was a little worried. At this moment, the middle-aged man in front of him asked again. Lin Xian came back to his senses and said, "Yes, that's right, I'm from the outside world. Is this where the heavenly secret race lives?" The middle-aged man nodded. "That's right, this is where the heavenly secret race lives. Very few outsiders can come here. I didn't expect you to come. It's fate that you're here. You can walk around by yourself. Don't hurt anyone from the heavenly secret race." The middle-aged man left, and Lin Xian started strolling around. He discovered that the town was bigger than he had imagined, and there were even other cities outside of the town. On the other side, after Xueqi came in, she walked with the others. She passed through the fog alone and came to the front. She also found a town. The people in the town berated her and called her Tianqi. Their eyes shone with a golden radiance. She felt that the piercing pain in her soul seemed to have become Tianqi. She followed them, but later, the 9-yin body erupted with terrifying ice, and she came back to her senses. She was so scared that she broke out in a cold sweat. She quickly retreated and distanced herself from these people. Damn it, what's going on? Why were my memories changed by them? It was too terrifying. What is this place? This town is too strange. She wasn't the only one. All the people who were shrouded in the fog saw a strange town after passing through the fog. In the next moment, they were all affected by eye techniques, and their memories were changed. They became members of the heavenly secret race and lived here. They forgot their true identities and their past. Even the elders of the heavenly secret race were lost. Only a few people were exceptions. Only then could they escape. For example, they had a peerless bloodline, an extremely powerful body, or an extremely terrifying eye technique and soul. For example, Xueqi Mingchen, tyrannical ambition, Zhan Zongxing, elder Lu Qing, and others. They either had an extremely powerful bloodline or a strange soul. These people weren't under their control, but even so, they were still very careful. Zhan Zongxing's eyes shone with a terrifying radiance. In the fog, he encountered 2 people from the heavenly secret race. He snorted coldly. The 2 people from the heavenly secret race wanted to escape, but their bodies shattered and turned into nothingness. Chapter 45-23. Zhan Zongxing also saw the town and felt the strange light in the other party's eyes. His pupils constricted. Could this be the legendary Tianji eyes? He didn't expect to encounter it. He was too shocked. If he were able to learn the secrets of the heavenly fortune eye technique here, he would be able to further evolve his soul-extinguishing eye technique. He was too shocked. He began to frantically search the town for the secret to the evolution of his eyes. On the other side, Lin Xian was also walking in the town. He felt that everything around him was mysterious. He realized that there were really people from the Divine Eye tribe here. Their eyes were very strange. Of course, not everyone had a golden light. Moreover, even if they opened their divine eye, the golden runes in their eyes varied in strength. "Young man, you can't go any further. You can't enter that place." An old man kindly reminded him. Lin Xian turned his head and saw that the old man had white hair and a sage-like demeanor. However, his eyes were ordinary, just like a normal person's. There was no shocking light that surprised him. This old man didn't open his divine eye? Senior, what's the place in front? It's called the Divine Eye Pavilion. It used to be the place where the Divine Eye tribe cultivated. However, that place has been sealed now. No one can enter. The old man shook his head and left. The Divine Eye Pavilion? Lin Xian was shocked. A place to cultivate. He decided to take a look. He found that there was a seal there that prevented him from entering. However, the aura on it surprised him. He took out the bronze key. Was the second bronze key he obtained used to open the Divine Eye Pavilion? At the same time, Ming Chen, Tyrant Sky, Elder Lu Qin, and Zhan Songsheng were also investigating if there was a place to cultivate. They also received news about the Divine Eye Pavilion. Was it a sealed cultivation ground? They all rushed over. Apart from Misty Peak, there were also a few experts from the other grotto heavens and ancient race experts who weren't controlled. They rushed over and saw a red-robed man standing there with his back to them. It's that brat. Ming Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Tyranny and Lu Qin's expressions also changed. It's him. He's here too. He wasn't being controlled. Great, now is the best time to kill him. These people increased their speed. Lin Xian used the bronze key when he heard the sound of something tearing through the air behind him. With a click, he opened the seal and walked in. He also took the bronze key with him. He went in. He too had a bronze key. Everyone exclaimed. Zhan Songsheng's eyes shone with a cold light. He had a bronze key, so he naturally knew that it was impossible to open this place without it. Therefore, he had to take advantage of the time when the seal was closed to enter or leave the key in the other party's hand. In his eyes, the eye of exterminating spirits emitted the light of exterminating spirits, destroying everything. However, he was still a step too late. The seal in front of him was restored, and Lin Xian's figure disappeared. Damn it! When the spirit extermination light collided with the seal, it caused a shocking tremor. The light was reflected back, scaring the surrounding people into dodging. Damn it! After Zhan Songsheng arrived, he slammed his palm onto the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. However, it had no effect at all. Was there no other way? Tyranny, Dark Star, and the others frowned. The other grotto heavens and ancient race experts walked over, their expressions similarly cold. They looked forward and said, "Young Master Zhan Song, let's join hands." These people joined hands and unleashed a terrifying attack. Whether it was the law of divine abilities or soul attacks, they tried everything, but they still couldn't open it. Damn it, there must be a secret of the Heaven's Secrets race inside. There might even be an inheritance of the Heaven's Secrets race. These people's eyes turned red. Good brat, you dare to snatch the treasure in front of me. I want to see if you can take the treasure away when you come out. Zhan Songsheng's eyes were filled with killing intent. He stood there and waited silently. It seemed that he wanted to wait for Lin Xian to come out so that he could capture him and take his soul. The others were also waiting. How could they miss such a good opportunity? Even if they had to wait 100 years, they would still wait. As for the others who came in, let alone finding the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion, they even lost their own identities. They had become disciples of the Heaven's Secrets race and would live here forever. On the other side, after Lin Xian entered, he discovered that the interior of the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion was incomparably bright, and there were many passages around it. Moreover, there were figures on every floor. These people were very blurry, and they were all cultivating in secret rooms. There were actually people here. Was this an illusion? He didn't know. He continued to walk towards the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. There were 7 floors in total. He arrived at the 6th floor and discovered that there was an empty cultivation room there. He walked in. When he entered, he felt that the secret room was sealed. Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to him. Instead, he looked around the secret chamber curiously. He realized that there were many diagrams inside, all of which were ancient stone carvings. There were all sorts of strange Dao runes drawn on them, and there was even a pair of magical eyes that dazzled him. Just one look would cause his soul to feel a piercing pain, as if it was about to split open. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This was the cultivation of eye techniques. These diagrams could cultivate the soul and strengthen eye techniques. Great, he had come to the right place. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He didn't pay attention to anything else. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and began to comprehend and cultivate. There were a total of 12 diagrams in front of him. The 12 diagrams of heaven's secrets. Lin Xian began to comprehend with all his might. In his golden pupils, all sorts of Tao runes were constantly intertwining, forming mysterious and strange runes one after another. Some of these runes were attacks, some were illusions, and some could control the soul of others with just a glance. They could even modify the soul memories of others. It was really mysterious. It opened a new door for Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed to have forgotten about time and everything as he comprehended here. After some time, he felt that his eyes were so painful that they were about to bleed. Only then did he look away and stand up. Dong He was about to go out and see what was in the other secret rooms. However, he found that he couldn't get out at all. This secret room had formed another seal. It had extremely strong soul power, and Lin Xian couldn't break it. Damn it, could it be that there was a key? He took out the bronze key and found that it couldn't be opened at all. Of these two keys, one was to open the Qinkan ancient city. The other was to open the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. However, there was no secret room at all. Could it be that there were other keys? Lin Xian frowned. Other than him, there was another person who had a bronze key, and that was Zhang Zongsheng. However, his bronze key was to open the Qinkan Palace. He had never seen anyone open a secret cultivation room. What was going on? Could it be that after entering, there was no way out? Chapter 45-24. No, it's impossible to be trapped here. Lin Xian observed carefully. The soul on the seal was extremely powerful, and he was very familiar with it. He discovered that the seal was formed by the fusion of the 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams. Could it be that he had to comprehend all 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams before he could leave? He took a deep breath and sat back down cross-legged. He took out a treasure to recover his soul and ate it. In the next moment, he started comprehending the 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams with all his might. In the small town, the autumn wind blew and the leaves fell. Winter arrived. Ice and snow fell and then melted. Another summer had arrived. The cycle of spring and autumn had been repeated many times. Ming Chen walked over in front of the mysterious heavenly pavilion and said with gritted teeth, 100 years had passed. Damn it, this time passed by too quickly. Zhang Zongsheng was still standing in front of him. He said coldly, if I'm not wrong, everything we see is an illusion. The flow of time here is different from the outside world. It might pass in the blink of an eye. 100 years here might only be a second outside. So, we can continue to wait. Hearing that, some people heaved a sigh of relief. If that was the case, they could afford to wait. Otherwise, it would be a huge waste for them to wait for 100 years in vain. However, at this moment, an old man said coldly, the flow of time here is indeed different, but it's also possible that 100 years here is comparable to 1,000 years outside. We don't know how it's distributed. I don't intend to wait any longer. After saying that, he prepared to leave. He even wanted to leave the small town and return to reality. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed. In the past 100 years, many people had died in the small town. The cycle of life and death had begun. Those whose memories had been changed seemed to have lost their monstrous magic power. Some people died and were buried by others, turning into a pile of bones. Some people were old and seemed to have one foot in the grave. Xue Qi looked at those scenes with a grave expression. Some of them were from the Thousand Mountain Cave. Before coming here, they had fought side by side with her. But now, they had become white-haired old men. Some of them had even turned into bones. She had tried to find a few companions and tried to wake them up. But she found that it was useless. The 9-yin body could only guarantee that she would not be controlled, but it could not save anyone else. Xue Qi frowned as she wondered how Lin Xian was doing. Naturally, she also saw the Divine Mysteries Pavilion and the people standing there. However, she did not go over. Instead, he hid far away. However, it was fortunate that those people were guarding the place and didn't investigate it. Otherwise, those people would have noticed Xueqi. Inside the Divine Secrets Pavilion. In the secret chamber, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Mysterious runes flickered in his eyes. Success. He stood up, and the golden radiance in his eyes seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth. The 12 mysterious heavenly maps in front of him slowly disappeared, as if they had never been there. Lin Xian turned around and faced the powerful soul seal. His eyes glowed with a golden light. The 12 heavenly mysteries maps floated in his eyes, rapidly changing and merging with the seal. With a kacha sound, a crack appeared on the seal. The seal slowly opened, revealing a passageway. He had finally succeeded. Lin Xian was overjoyed as he walked out of the passageway. After he opened the secret chamber seal, the seals in the other secret chambers also reacted and opened one after another. Lin Xian was startled, and he went to look at the other secret chambers. However, he discovered that they were empty. Moreover, most of the people in those secret chambers had already turned into skeletons. Only a small number of people managed to escape. These people were also emaciated, as if they were made of bones. After they appeared, their gazes were like lightning as they fixed their gazes on Lin Xian. Their eyes were filled with vigilance and a terrifying aura. They are so terrifying. They are surely not from the younger generation. Lin Xian felt as if he was facing a great enemy. His eyes emitted a terrifying golden radiance, and it seemed as if they had turned into 2 divine lamps to warn these people. 3 people came out of the secret chamber, and their hair was disheveled as they fixed their gazes on Lin Xian. They quickly searched the other secret chambers, and they discovered that those people had already turned into skeletons. They then faced the sky and roared, "Hateful! I have finally come out. Damn it! They are all dead. How many years have passed?" The 3 people faced the sky and roared. The heavenly secrets pavilion swayed, and a terrifying aura filled the air. Lin Xian was shocked. These 3 people were too terrifying. Late-stage Saint King? Or had they already reached the level of the great sage? Also, how long had these 3 people been trapped for? Were these skeletons from the same era as these 3 people? So many elites and saints had already turned into skeletons, so several thousand years had definitely passed. These 3 people were still alive. When I came, I was still a young prodigy, but now, I don't even have much time left. How many thousand years has it been? A gray-haired person looked up and sighed. He blinked and tears flowed out. A young prodigy had directly turned into a living fossil. Lin Xian didn't dare to believe it. This was more than 5,000 years, right? The other 2 people's eyes also erupted with a piercing cold radiance. They stared at Lin Xian. "Brator, when did you come in? This time, we didn't seem to have seen you." This time, there were a total of more than 30 people here. They all knew each other, and they didn't see each other. Lin Xian said, "I came in later, and I don't know how long I've been here." "It's normal that you don't know me. Has the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion opened again? You actually managed to walk out of the secret chamber." They were really too shocked. "Which side are you from?" Their eyes were filled with shock. They were all soul eye technique experts, but they were still trapped inside and couldn't come out. They didn't expect a young man to actually do it. The other party definitely had a secret. Lin Xian was also facing a great enemy. These 2 old guys had just come out, and were they targeting him? He snorted coldly, flipped his palm, and took out the Xiantian token. "I'm from the Xiantian Pavilion." "Xiantian Pavilion?" The 3 people were stunned, and the eyes of the 2 white-haired people shone. "Xiantian Pavilion, you really surprised me." They walked toward Lin Xian. The 3rd person, the gray-haired person, stepped forward and said, "What, you 2 want to fight here? Kill each other? I don't know how many years have passed. Let's go out first." The 2 of them looked at each other and nodded. They weren't in a hurry. They should go out first. Seeing the 2 of them walking forward, the gray-haired man glanced at Lin Xian and transmitted his voice. "Be careful." Lin Xian nodded. "Thank you for the reminder." Then he also walked forward. "Brat, how did you get in?" Do you have a key? Lin Xian took it out and used the bronze key to open the seal. This time, the bronze key disappeared. It seemed that he couldn't enter here anymore. However, he didn't regret it. He had already cultivated the 12 maps of heavenly secrets, and there was nothing left here for him to stay. Chapter 45-25. What happened to Xueqi and the others? Was this really the Heaven's Legacy tribe? Was this all a fantasy, or was it real? With such thoughts in mind, the seal in front of him began to rumble as it slowly opened. Outside the Heaven's Legacy pavilion, Zhan Congxing and the others stood there, waiting. At that moment, the number of people beside him had already decreased by half. The others had already given up. Only a portion of people were still waiting there. They decided to wait for 100 years. If no one came out after 100 years, they would give up. On this day, he discovered that the seal in front of him had finally changed. This is great. The person inside had come out. The surrounding people were overjoyed. Their 200 years of waiting had not been in vain. That kid was finally coming out. They could take revenge. Ming Chen's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Zhan Congxing snorted. He would capture him and take his soul. No matter what inheritance he obtained inside, it would be his. The moment the seal was broken, Zhan Congxing moved. The light of destruction shot out. On the other side, Ming Chen roared and slammed his palm into the seal. With a boom, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Then 2 figures retreated. They were Zhan Congxing and Ming Chen. Their faces were pale, and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were shattered. What happened? Lu Qin and the other elders' expressions changed. That kid had become so terrifying? A single person had defeated 2 top-notch experts? Tyranny's expression was also serious. But in the next moment, they were all stunned. They discovered that the first to walk out was not Lin Xian, but 2 elders. 2 white-haired old men. Their bodies were withered, but their auras were extremely terrifying. Especially their eyes, which were like bright lights that could see through everything. Previously, Zhan Congxing and Ming Chen had been injured by these 2. How dare you plot against us here? Are you courting death? One of the elders said coldly. His eyes suddenly emitted a terrifying starlight, as if it was going to sweep through everything. Not good, this was an extremely terrifying expert. How could there be someone inside? The surrounding people were all going crazy. Elder Lu Qin hurriedly stood out. Senior, we have no ill intentions. We didn't know it was you inside. We are all from the Ethereal Peak. For the sake of the Ethereal Peak, please let us off. People from Ethereal Peak. Do you dare to be arrogant in front of me? A figure snorted coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. They had been trapped for thousands of years and were already furious. How could they not be angry when they were ambushed the moment they came out? The 2 figures walked over with killing intent. Use your blood to atone for your sins. Boom. An old man made a move. His terrifying aura was vast and mighty. The pupils of the surrounding people suddenly shrank, and their faces became unsightly. Retreat quickly. They frantically retreated, but they were still beaten to the point of vomiting blood. The other old man waved his hand, and a huge black flag appeared in his hand. Countless souls flew out from it and swept out in all directions. The 2 of them didn't use eye techniques, but their souls were terrifying. Eye techniques were only one type of soul attacks. There were millions of other types of soul attacks. Just like the voice and the black flag. It was too scary. Even though the people of the Ethereal Peak were strong and stood above the paradise, they were still no match for these 2 elderly men. They were forced to retreat bit by bit. Go quickly. The elders roared crazily. Zhan Congxing roared and unleashed his light of annihilation, but he couldn't block it either. There was no choice. The other party was too strong. Their cultivation states were way higher than theirs. No matter how strong his extinguishing spirit eyes were, it wasn't enough. The people of the Ethereal Peak retreated quickly. At the same time, they called for reinforcements from the paradise. When the powerful beings of the paradise rushed over, they were dumbfounded. To think that there were people who could chase after Ethereal Peak. Just who were they? When they found out that it was two old monsters who came out of the Heaven Secrets Pavilion, they were so scared that their hairs stood on end. How many years ago were these old monsters? Their strength had reached a heaven-defying state, and they had to leave this town. However, it was impossible for them to leave this place in a short period of time. They could only keep shuttling back and forth inside to escape. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. These people of the ethereal peak were really courting death. However, they deserved it. Who asked the other party to strike? He guessed that the other party must have wanted to capture him. However, he hadn't expected that there would be others other than him inside. Outside the Heaven and Earth Palace, countless people were waiting. They did not know what was going on inside. There were sounds of fighting everywhere in the Qiankuan ancient city. Some people were fighting with the demonic shadows, while others were rushing towards the Qiankuan palace. There were even some people who wanted to settle their previous grudges. At the same time, many people were rushing towards the Qiankuan ancient city to look for opportunities. In the sky, a stream of light flashed past, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. A powerful aura suppressed the surroundings. Wherever it passed, mountains and rivers would shatter and everything would bow down. A terrifying and vast aura spread out in all directions. In the Thousand Mountain Paradise, the Holy Heaven's Old Ancestor and Black Ice Old Ancestor suddenly opened their eyes. They felt that the Great Tao was dancing between heaven and earth. What a terrifying Great Tao aura! It was the Great Sage. And it was the existence at the peak of the Great Sage. The two of them were really shocked. Although they were also the Great Sage, they were only in the early stages of the Great Sage. They couldn't be compared to the peak of the Great Sage. One was on the ground and the other was in the sky. At this moment, the two of them were facing a formidable enemy. Such a terrifying existence had appeared here. Who was it? Was it the existence of Ethereal Peak? But it shouldn't be. Even if Ethereal Peak had such an existence, it would be in a deep slumber. It wouldn't appear unless it was a matter of life and death. They didn't know. In fact, it wasn't just the Thousand Mountain Paradise. The Flying Feather Grotto Heaven, Xiling Grotto Heaven, Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, and the other 6 grotto heavens were all alarmed. All of them looked solemn. They didn't even dare to investigate. They were just guessing who it was. Ethereal Peak, the sacred land of martial arts. At this moment, in the core area of Ethereal Peak, a few figures suddenly opened their eyes. Then they tore through the void and came to the sky. Did you feel it? An old man asked. Another young man nodded his head. What a powerful Great Tao! It was in existence at the peak. Reporting to the old ancestor, I wonder why such a person has descended here. The other few great sage nodded their heads as well. They couldn't make the decision and could only come to the more mysterious cave abode. The few great sage said respectfully, Old ancestor, a mysterious peak great sage has appeared in the sky. I wonder if he's here to target Ethereal Peak? Old ancestor, please make a decision. There was a cave abode in front. It was majestic and simple. It was completely silent inside. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, a voice came from inside. The peak of the great sage is just a clone. He's not targeting Ethereal Peak. Chapter 45-26. After hearing that, the few great sage outside heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it wasn't targeted at them. However, when they heard that it was a clone, they still felt chills down their spines. How could a clone be so powerful? This was the power of a peak. And by the looks of it, the great sage at his peak was extremely strong and had a strong blood qi, unlike their old ancestor who could only go into seclusion to prolong his life. If such a person were to descend, he would definitely be able to sweep through everything. The figure in the sky was shrouded by thousands of rays of light as if he was born. Everywhere he passed, everything bowed down and it didn't take long for him to arrive above Qiankuan Ancient City. The people in Qiankuan Ancient City were still fighting over the treasures. However, when they felt the vast aura coming from above the 9 heavens, they stopped. They all stopped what they were doing and raised their heads to look in horror. What was that? An immortal had appeared. The pupils of some of the older generation experts constricted. The Great Sage. And it was the extremely terrifying Great Sage. Was such a figure going to descend here? Could it be that some heaven-defying treasure had appeared in Qiankuan ancient city? That peerless expert did not say anything as he stood above the 9 heavens and reached down with a huge hand. Heaven and earth collapsed and the void was torn apart as Qiankuan ancient city shook continuously. Everyone in Qiankuan ancient city prostrated on the ground. Qiankuan palace. Many people were waiting patiently. However, in an instant, the void above split open. A huge hand grabbed over. Who was it? They roared in anger. Boom, boom, boom. As the huge hand descended, many people turned into blood mists as the young disciples fled frantically. It was too terrifying. A single palm strike could kill all of them. This attack reached Qiankuan Palace directly. In a mysterious town, the 2 experts from Heavenly Secrets Pavilion were still chasing after the people of Ethereal Peak. The people of Ethereal Peak were on the verge of breaking down. They had gathered the experts of the Grotto Heavens for a final defense, but it seemed like they couldn't hold on any longer. Could it be that they were going to die here again? Their eyes were filled with despair. Until now, they still did not know who the enemy was. Damn it, it was all that detestable brat's fault. The moment they thought of Lin Xian, they gritted their teeth in anger. If it were not for the other party, how could they possibly guard the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion? How could he possibly make a move and offend these 2 terrifying experts? Right now, Ethereal Peak had already lost 2 elders. Even Zhan Songxing and the others were injured. In front of them, the 2 experts sneered. Now you can all go to hell. Their soul auras erupted once again, suppressing everything. However, at this moment, the void above the heaven and earth great formation cracked open. A huge hand slapped down, enveloping the entire town. Boom, boom, boom. Before the palm could land, the terrifying Great Tao laws had already descended, tearing everything apart. Not good. The pupils of the 2 peerless experts shrank as they quickly fled. The faces of the people of Ethereal Peak changed drastically as they fled one after another. The strike landed. The entire town was destroyed, and the Heaven's Legacy race people inside were roaring and dying. They turned into smoke and disappeared between heaven and earth. Those people whose memories had been altered and their souls controlled by the Heaven's Legacy race suddenly woke up. Damn it, what happened? Why can't I remember anything? Why am I kneeling here? Damn it, who buried me? These people roared crazily. They seemed to have experienced a lifetime. Thinking of this, they broke out in cold sweat. They had been hit by an illusion, and it was an illusion that they could not resist. If not for this palm, they would have been buried here for the rest of their lives. On the other side, Xue Qi frowned and quickly retreated. Lin Xian's face also changed drastically. Who was this attack? It was too terrifying. He did not dare to resist. He used the void escape technique and quickly dodged. With one strike, the Heaven's Legacy race was shattered. The people of Ethereal Peak spat out blood and retreated, their injuries even more serious. Who was it? The people of Ethereal Peak gritted their teeth. Even the 2 peerless experts looked up at the sky, their brows tightly knitted. What Heaven's Legacy race? It had long been destroyed. A mere illusion had no need to exist in this world. A cold voice sounded. Above the 9 heavens, an illusory figure appeared, surrounded by laws. It was as if a heavenly emperor had descended. How terrifying! This was the Great Sage. And it was the Great Sage at his peak. These people were terrified. Who could resist the arrival of such an existence? Lin Xian also looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Why would the Great Sage at his peak come here? Where did this existence come from? In the sky, the figure sent out another palm strike. The small town that was originally in ruins was now torn into pieces and turned into dust. The people of Heaven's Legacy race from before had all disappeared. Only Lin Xian and the others were still around. Of course, there was another person besides them. It was an old man. The old man had a celestial aura and white hair. He walked over. As his footsteps landed, the destroyed town appeared again. Who was this person? Many people were puzzled. The experts of Ethereal Peak frowned. Zhang Songxing had also said that he had seen this person before. Was he not hallucinating? Lin Xian was also surprised. This old man was the one who had told him about the existence of the Heaven's Legacy Pavilion. Back then, he had felt that this old man was very strange, and his aura was very strange. However, he did not think too much about it back then. Now, it seemed that this old man was indeed extraordinary. I didn't expect you to be able to find this place. The celestial old man looked up at the sky and said coldly, "You're just a clone, and you want to come here? Don't you think that's a little arrogant? A mere illusion is enough to deal with you." The clone in the sky sneered. Boundless radiance radiated from his body and descended, bringing with it an extremely terrifying power. Everyone felt their bodies go cold. It seemed that they could not resist this palm at all. Even escaping was impossible. Fortunately, this palm was not aimed at them. Furthermore, that sage-like old man had also joined the battle. Suddenly, a terrifying golden light burst out from his eyes, piercing through the sky. It was like a sword piercing through the clouds. Boom, 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 boom. The two collided, tearing apart the sky. The terrifying aura caused everyone to retreat. It was too terrifying. Zhang Songxing roared. Heaven's Legacy Eye. This was the true Heaven's Legacy Eye. Was this old man from the Heaven's Legacy race? Lin Xian was even more shocked. He could naturally feel a familiar aura. This person was really from the Heaven's Legacy race. Moreover, this person's eye technique was much stronger than his. To be able to fight against the great sage, who was at his peak, what kind of existence was this? The golden eye became the only thing in the world, blocking the terrifying palm in the sky. It seemed that if I did not use some real means, I would not be able to suppress you. The clone in the sky said coldly. In the next moment, a terrifying power burst out, causing the entire world to tremble. Everyone in Qiankuan ancient city knelt on the ground in fear. Chapter 45:27. The punch was like a vast ocean. The force of 10,000 caddies whistled past, and nothing could stop it. Below, the small town shattered and turned into nothingness. The old man's figure became blurry as if he was about to disappear. But at this moment, the old man's eyes suddenly emitted a vast aura. The golden light in the sky quickly intertwined and formed a pair of strange eyes. The heavenly secret divine eyes had some strange golden runes. But at this moment, the golden runes had disappeared. Instead, they were like ripples that overlapped with each other. It was like a black eye that had a golden pupil. It was 6 holes that connected to each other and formed a reincarnation pattern. Boom, boom, boom. The moment the eyes appeared, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The fist that was pressing forward collapsed and was suppressed. The figure in the sky stopped. The fist shook and he let out a terrified roar. Reincarnation eyes. What? Reincarnation eyes. Could it be the legendary Rinnegan eyes? Zhang Songxing was so excited that his body trembled. He was going crazy. This was the legendary divine eyes. Even Lin Xian was shocked. What was going on? Rinnegan eyes? What did it have to do with the reincarnation sword? And why was it formed by the heavenly secret divine eyes? This was unbelievable. The sage-like old man threw his head back and laughed uproariously. His figure dimmed, but his eyes became even more terrifying. That's right, Rinnegan eyes. Damn it, you're just an illusion. You're not the real great sage Qian. You're no longer at the peak of your strength. So what if you have Rinnegan eyes? The figure in the sky roared crazily. Everyone was stunned. The great sage Qian. Could it be the legendary great sage Qian? Lin Xian was also shocked. He had heard of the legend of the great sage Qian. He was the disciple of the Heaven and Earth Emperor. The Heaven and Earth Emperor had 2 disciples. They were the great sage Qian and the great sage Kuan. Both of them stood at the peak of the great sage realm and could be said to be invincible. However, this was something that happened 100,000 years ago. It was impossible for him to still be alive. Lin Xian knew that this was probably a combination of illusions and remnant souls. That person had been dead for tens of thousands of years. Who was that figure in the sky? That's right, I'm no longer as strong as I was back then, the great sage of Qian coldly said. But so what? You are also not my junior brother, the great sage Kuan. You are merely his descendant. If I'm not wrong, you haven't completely cultivated the six paths body, right? How can you compete with Rinnegan? Everyone was shocked once again. The person in the sky was indeed related to the great sage of Kuan. Not the great sage of Kuan, but the descendant of the great sage of Kuan. As for the six paths body, what was that? Lin Xian was also surprised, but he felt that it had something to do with the Samsara sword. Rinnegan, six paths body. Lin Xian felt that this matter was becoming more and more mysterious. It seemed that the power related to the Samsara sword was about to appear. Is that so? Although I haven't completely cultivated the six paths body, I have already cultivated some six paths fists. I will let you experience the power of my six paths fists. After he finished speaking, he roared toward the sky, and his terrifying fists rained down. 6 phantoms appeared in the sky, and it seemed like they were connected to 6 different worlds. As they punched out, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Boom, boom, boom. The great sage of Qian's phantoms, the Rinnegan, erupted with boundless radiance. It charged toward the 6 paths fists. When the two of them collided, the 6 paths reincarnation's power erupted and engulfed everyone. Are we going to die? Although the two of them weren't real bodies, their power was on par with the great sages. Moreover, they had reached the late stage of the great sage, and they were unable to resist such power. Lin Xian also felt that his body was being torn apart. His body flickered, and he used the void escape technique to arrive beside Xueqi. He was about to use the great sage pagoda to defend himself. However, at this moment, the great sage of Qian sneered coldly. It's useless, as I know that you want the Rinnegan. However, you won't be able to obtain it. After he finished speaking, the Rinnegan erupted with radiance once again. Reincarnation, heaven and earth. Everyone felt as if heaven and earth had been turned upside down, and the sun and the moon were rotating. Their bodies were enveloped by a mysterious power. Soon after, they were teleported out. At this moment, Lin Xian felt as if he had been struck by lightning. This was because he felt that apart from this mysterious power, there was another voice that entered his soul. Fated person, I didn't expect that you could comprehend the mysterious heavenly 12 diagrams and possess the mysterious heavenly divine eyes. You are a descendant of the mysterious heavenly race. There are a total of 24 mysterious heavenly diagrams, and the remaining 12 diagrams are with me. I will now impart them to you. After you finish cultivating the 24 mysterious heavenly diagrams, you will be able to condense the Rinnegan. At that time, you will have the opportunity to summon the reincarnation sword. Also, don't get caught by the 6 paths descendant. After the voice resounded, it instantly disappeared. In the next moment, Lin Xian felt that another 12 diagrams had appeared in his mind. There were a total of 24 diagrams. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. The mysterious heavenly divine eyes were evolving, and they could really become the Rinnegan. Moreover, the Rinnegan could summon the reincarnation sword. This was really inconceivable. Damn it, you actually imparted the Rinnegan to someone else. Who did you impart it to? A roar reverberated between heaven and earth. The peerless doppelganger roared crazily. The great sage's final voice disappeared. It's useless. You will never know where the Rinnegan went. Damn it. No one here is allowed to escape. I will search your soul strictly. I don't believe that you can hide it anywhere. A powerful force enveloped Lin Xian and the others. They felt as if their bodies were about to split apart. Not good. The peerless doppelganger of the great sage wanted to kill them. Even Lin Xian's face turned pale. Although he had obtained the 24 mysterious heavenly diagrams, he was unable to resist the doppelganger with his current strength. Fortunately, the great sage's power managed to send them safely out of the Universal Palace. At the same time, the doppelganger was enveloped and disappeared. Were they saved? After Lin Xian and the others came out, they heaved a sigh of relief. Xueqi also heaved a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on her face. It was really a new lease on life. The other people's faces were also gloomy. They didn't expect that such a peerless expert would appear in the end. Fortunately, the great sage had imparted the Rinnegan to them. Otherwise, they would have surely died. What did his last words mean? The Rinnegan had disappeared. Could it be that he had imparted it to someone else? Moreover, the doppelganger wouldn't let them go. Was it because someone among them had obtained it? For a moment, a terrifying radiance erupted from Zhan Zongsheng's eyes. He swept his gaze across the surroundings and stared at everyone. Don't look. Do you really think that any of us can obtain the Rinnegan? What a joke. That guy just said it casually in order to deceive the great sage's doppelganger. That's right, such a thing was just a diversion. It was simply unbelievable. The two old men said coldly. The others also sighed when they heard it. Chapter 45-28. They didn't know that Lin Xian had already obtained the 12 mysterious heavenly maps. Moreover, Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul. 2 of the 5 swords in the world were related to him. If these people knew about this, they would go crazy. Of course, Lin Xian wouldn't tell them about this secret. He just stood there without saying a word. No one knew what he was thinking. The Misty Peaks people stared at Lin Xian with cold, killing intent in their eyes. They had to get rid of this guy. It was because he dared to challenge the Misty Peak. However, the 2 experts who came out of the mysterious heavenly pavilion also stared at the Misty Peak. The Misty Peaks people acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Let's go! They gritted their teeth and soared into the sky. The 2 experts sneered coldly and thought, "You left quickly." Then they turned their heads and looked at Lin Xian. "Lad, let's see what secrets you have." Before they finished speaking, Lin Xian used the void escape technique and disappeared with Xueqi. "You want to escape? Do you think you can escape?" One of the old men sneered coldly and waved his hand to take out a large flag. Countless souls flew out to investigate. He found him. A smile appeared at the corners of his mouth and he was about to attack. However, at this moment, he was stunned. What's going on? His aura has disappeared. What a strange lad. I can't sense him either. The other old man furrowed his brows. The third gray-haired old man, however, disappeared with a sway of his body. Damn it. That lad has a treasure that can block our investigation. They quickly searched the entire Qiankuan ancient city. The 2 old men quickly took action. However, they still couldn't find Lin Xian. They were unwilling to give up. Forget it. Let's go back first. We have been trapped here for several thousand years. We don't need to waste time here. The 2 old men soared into the sky and disappeared. Great. Those 2 guys left. Lin Xian said to Xueqi as the golden radiance in his eyes disappeared. Xueqi also heaved a sigh of relief. She looked at Lin Xian and asked, "Are you okay?" Lin Xian nodded. "I'm okay." Next, it was almost time to go back. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. He was very satisfied. This time, he was actually able to discover the secret of the heavenly secret divine eyes. Now that he had acquired the 12 heavenly fortune maps, he would no longer have to worry about his eye technique cultivation. He just needed to cultivate the 24 Tao diagrams. His heavenly secret divine eyes could then evolve into the true eye of samsara. At this moment, he had already mastered the first 12 diagrams. Next, he would cultivate the last 12 diagrams. The 2 of them prepared to split up and return to the 1,000 mountain grotto heaven. However, as soon as he left, another terrifying aura descended from the sky. Did the great sage come again? The people of Qiankuan ancient city acted as if they were facing a great enemy. A great sage had just left, and now another great sage had arrived. Moreover, there was more than one. Indeed, Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He concealed his aura and did not act rashly. The toad jumped over and said, "So many great sage, what's going on?" When this fellow entered the Universal Palace and discovered that the aura there was not right, he immediately jumped out. He did not experience what happened before. However, the previous clones still made him feel like he was facing a great enemy. Now, so many great sage had appeared. Lin Xian said, "I think they should be investigating the identity of the previous one." Sure enough, These great sage were from the various grotto heavens and the misty peak. After they arrived, they carefully investigated. That figure had already left. They communicated with each other and then heaved a sigh of relief. Then, they began to ask their disciples what was going on. When they learned that the person who came was the descendant of the great sage of Kuan, moreover, when the phantom of the great sage of Kuan appeared, as well as the Rinnegan and the Six Paths physique, they were all stunned. These legendary existences had all appeared now? Quickly search. They entered the Universal Tower, only to find that it had already turned into nothingness. Nothing existed anymore. Damn it, such a great fortune had disappeared in front of them just like that. These great sage could not bear it and roared towards the sky. The stars in the sky cracked and the moon shook as if the world was about to be destroyed. Since the great sage of Kuan and the great sage of Kuan had both appeared, the legend of the universal ancient city was true. This was definitely a city built by the great emperor, and it definitely contained the secrets of the great emperor. These great sage joined forces and began to explore the universal ancient city. In fact, they even used monstrous great Tao laws to attack. The universal ancient city shook, and many people vomited blood. Lin Xian's face was also pale. Were these guys crazy? These great sage unleashed terrifying divine abilities, and endless light rushed towards the universal ancient city. At this moment, the universal ancient city seemed to have changed and shone with light again. Those demonic shadows let out roars and they all prostrated on the ground. The surrounding people could not breathe. Now, there were 10 great sages. The 10 great sage were like gods, suppressing heaven and earth. Under their joint forces, the universal ancient city changed. Changes happened to the Kuan ancient city. It finally split open, and countless rays of multicolored light circulated about. At the same time, countless divine crystals flew out. It was like a meteor shower, causing countless people to exclaim. There were things sealed in those divine crystals. Hurry up and attack, these people are snatching crazily. In the sky, a great sage snorted coldly, and it struck down like thunder. Instantly, hundreds of figures shattered, turning into a bloody mist. The others were terrified and did not dare to move. Snatching treasures in front of these great sage was courting death. The geniuses of Ethereal Peak were the same. Their eyes were burning, but they did not dare to act rashly. Lin Xian was also surprised. As expected of the great sage, his vision was broader than theirs. They had searched for so long but did not find anything, only a small amount of sage king will. These great sage actually triggered the birth of so many treasures. He did not move, but Little White began to move. He took out the treasure bowl and began to collect them. He did not take many, but each time, it was a very important treasure. Not long after, a small mountain was piled up on his side. Those great sage did not care. Their eyes were like divine light, sweeping through the ancient city. The Heaven and Earth Emperor was extremely terrifying, and there were many legends about him. His 2 disciples were also very famous. But in addition to the Rinnegan and Six Paths body, the Heaven and Earth Emperor had an extreme Tao Emperor weapon, the reincarnation disc. But in the legends, the reincarnation disc did not appear. Now that the relationship between the Heaven and Earth Emperor was confirmed, they guessed that the real reincarnation disc was very likely to be in this ancient city. If they could get it, then whether it was them or their grotto heavens, they would soar to the sky. So, how could these great sage not be excited? The 10 great sages were like heavenly gods descending from heaven. The entire heaven and earth ancient city shook violently. Suddenly, the world shook, and a large array appeared, covering heaven and earth. Not good. There was an array formation. Was it left behind by the emperor? Chapter 45-29. There was only a corner of the array, but it covered the world, making everyone's hair stand on end. Those great sage were instantly trapped. They could no longer care about anything else and attacked with all their might. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed, "Good chance, let's attack." They didn't dare to attack when so many treasures were dropped. Now that the great sage was trapped, it was a good opportunity to snatch the treasures. Get lost. This belongs to our ethereal peak. Whoever dares to snatch it will die. Ming Chen roared crazily. He shot out the water of the river Styx, which swept across the 9 heavens. His physique was very strong. In an instant, many people were sent flying. On the other side, Tyranny also attacked. With a slash, a peerless saber light bloomed, illuminating the 9 heavens. Zhan Songxing was even more terrifying. As soon as the exterminating spirit pupil was used, it was unparalleled. Everyone who was swept by his gaze turned into nothingness. The 3 geniuses of Ethereal Peak were unparalleled, suppressing the world. His strength was so strong that it caused everyone to be terrified. Those geniuses of Grotto Heaven couldn't be compared to them at all. However, it wasn't just the younger generation that was here. There were also many experts of the older generation. At this moment, they also attacked fiercely. Brat, this is a good opportunity. The toad laughed loudly and rushed out. Lin Xian also attacked. On the other side, Xue Qi and the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven also attacked. Everyone was fighting for the treasures. Get lost, this is what we want. The people of White Cloud Grotto Heaven roared and rushed toward Lin Xian. Terrifying sword Qi swept through everything like a mountain. It engulfed Lin Xian. Lin Xian wasn't afraid. He used his divine body to block it. Amidst the peerless sword light, he walked out unscathed. Then, with a punch, 3 figures were sent flying, their faces full of fear. Damn, so scary. Lin Xian waved his hand and grabbed a divine crystal. Then, he attacked again and forced the people of Flying Feather Grotto Heaven and Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven to retreat. Damn it, it's that kid. Catch him. These people attacked crazily. Lin Xian channeled the power of the divine crystals into his body. What was sealed was actually universe Qi. What terrifying power. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He absorbed with all his might. He wanted to break through to the Saint King level in this place. After absorbing the Qiankuan Qi, Lin Xian attacked again. At the same time, the powerful beings from the paradise rushed over as well. Lin Xian fought against it. At this time, an elder-level person was killed. Move aside, let me kill him. Terrifying laws swept through everything, making Lin Xian feel as if he was facing a great enemy. Lin Xian summoned the Devil Shadow to fight back. The black claw tore through everything, tearing the void apart, forming a black hole. At the same time, 6 demonic shadows appeared and circled around him. A great battle instantly broke out. It was abnormally terrifying. Lin Xian was simply too strong. Even in the face of the attacks from so many Grotto Heavens, he was still fearless. He snatched a lot of Qiankuan Qi from these people. Those people's eyes turned red. Lin Xian used the void escape technique and left to the other side. The divine crystal in front of him was even larger, like a small mountain. There was even more Qiankuan Qi inside. There were 8 strands. 8 strands of Qiankuan Qi, each strand like a divine rainbow, carrying shocking power. Lin Xian rushed over. At the same time, 5 other figures rushed over. He attacked forcefully, forcing 2 of them back. The other 3 wanted to attack together. At this moment, a cold snort sounded. You want to steal such a peerless treasure with just you? There was a loud laugh, and a peerless blade light flashed in the sky. The bodies of the 3 people split open, their faces full of fear. It's Tyranny. Retreat. They frantically retreated. Tyranny landed and looked at Lin Xian. Their voice was cold. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian sneered. You don't have the right to say that. Not knowing the difference between life and death, Tyranny once again slashed out with a peerless blade light. The world shook as it charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian swung his fist, punching towards the peerless blade light. The terrifying power swept through like an ocean, shattering the sky. You're just a civil. Lin Xian sneered. Tyranny's face was cold. Since the opponent could defeat Dark Star, it meant that the opponent was very strong. He naturally wouldn't be careless. Just now, it was just a casual attack. Next, I'll let you see my peerless blade technique. Tyrannical blade technique of heaven and earth. 4 peerless blade lights appeared around him, constantly revolving. Endless light swept through the 9 heavens, slashing forward. Tyrannical blade technique of heaven and earth was a peerless blade technique with boundless power. At this moment, it was condensed and could definitely destroy everything. People of the same level couldn't resist at all. Even the body of the underworld king couldn't stop it. The surrounding people felt the terrifying blade light and immediately retreated. It was too scary. He was going all out. Lin Xian was also surprised. Looking at the 4 blades, he was shocked. He had to admit that the opponent's blade light was indeed very strong. No wonder the opponent was ranked second. He was stronger than Dark Star. He used the 10 ultimate sword formation to fight. Terrifying sword chi swept in all directions, colliding with the 4 blades. Shocking killing intent appeared, making everyone's hair stand on end. Many people looked at the 2 peerless figures fighting in front of them, their faces full of shock. 10 ultimate sword formation. Lin Xian seemed to have turned into a peerless sword god. His terrifying sword intent swept through everything. Tyranny was shocked. He had heard that the opponent's physique was stronger than the body of the underworld king. In his view, the opponent was also an expert in close combat with an extremely strong physique. But now, it was completely beyond his imagination. The opponent wasn't using a strong physique, but sword chi. The power of each sword chi shocked him. His saber was shaking nonstop. He was known for his blade techniques, which could sweep through everything. No matter how strong the opponent's physique was, he could still break through it. He was confident that he could break through the opponent's physique. But the opponent's sword chi shocked him. It even made him wonder if his blade light could block it. These peerless blades didn't hurt the opponent. Instead, the opponent's sword chi made him feel like he was facing a great enemy. Fight. With a roar, the 10 ultimate sword formation completely erupted. The front turned into a world of swords, swallowing everything. How terrifying! The people in the distance were shocked. Was tyranny at a disadvantage? This guy's sword was actually so frightening. When the sky full of sword light disappeared, Tyranny's figure appeared. His armor was shattered, and there were many sword wounds. Blood flowed out. He was injured. Tyranny's expression was incomparably fierce. "Kid, you dare to injure me? I'll make you pay a painful price." He roared at the sky. The domineering aura on his body surged. The law of the great Tao condensed into a peerless overlord. The overlord held a blade in his hand. He was extraordinarily mighty. When he attacked, the power was even stronger than before. Lin Xian snorted. He used the 10 ultimate sword formation. His sword slashed out like a flying immortal. Tyranny snorted. The overlord's phantom blocked the 10 ultimate sword formation. At the same time, he attacked, forming a 5th blade in his hand. The overlord's blade slashed. This blade seemed to be able to cut through everything. Lin Xian swung his fist. It turned into a golden sun, flying in the sky. Against the peerless blade. Boom boom boom. The blade was blocked. Lin Xian's arm was numb. So strong. This worldly tyrant blade technique was truly a peerless ability. He laughed. Take another move. With a wave of his hand, a Taiji diagram appeared and pushed out. Chapter 45-30. How is this possible? Tyranny was sent flying again, coughing up blood. His face was full of shock. His opponent still had a trump card? Damn it. His face was cold. Was he going to go all out with immolation? Lin Xian said coldly, "You're no match for me." He waved his hand and grabbed at the 8 strands of universe chi. "I'll help you." At this moment, a figure came from behind, bringing with him the power of death. He attacked Lin Xian's back. Good chance. Tyranny also slashed at Lin Xian's arm. With a loud clang, Lin Xian's arm was shaken to the point where it deviated from its course and grabbed at the void. The aura of death behind him turned into a fist and punched him. His body swayed, and he was sent flying, crashing into countless mountains. The people in the distance cried out in alarm. That guy was injured. Dark Star had attacked. Were these two going to work together? Lin Xian landed, his eyes filled with killing intent. "Since I've attacked, I'll take half of the universe chi," Dark Star said. Tyranny snorted, his expression cold. He said, "Deal with that kid first." He knew that although they worked together, that attack just now was not enough to kill the opponent. Up ahead, the endless mountains shattered. A figure strode over, trampling the ground. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was cold, his black hair dancing wildly. "Sneak attacking me? You'll pay the price. You think you can fight me with just the two of you working together?" He was really angry. "Attack together." Dark Star roared and charged over, fighting with Lin Xian. Tyranny activated their sabers, using the Heaven and Earth Tyrant saber art, and attacked again. Kill. Lin Xian roared at the sky, his fists swinging as he engaged in a contest of physique. At the same time, the 10 absolute swords in his hand danced. A Taiji diagram appeared above his head, and Yin and Yang sword chi rained down. Lin Xian was fighting 1 against 2, but he was not at a disadvantage. Dark Star and Tyranny were both going crazy. The two of them working together couldn't suppress the opponent? How could this be? The people in the distance were also stunned. How did this guy do it? If those two joined hands, even Zhang Songxing would have to retreat. But this kid actually did it. Could it be that his strength surpassed Zhang Songxing's? Everyone found it hard to believe. Damn it. Underworld deity art. The Nether God was infuriated. Ming Chen roared, and a phantom of the god of the underworld appeared on his body. He roared to the sky and punched out. On the other side, Tyranny also used the Heaven and Earth tyrannical sword art, forming a terrifying tyrannical sword. Lin Xian roared. 10 absolute swords, 9 yang divine body, resisted. At the same time, his eyes flashed. A golden light flashed as he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes. Kneel. Lin Xian roared at Ming Chen. Ming Chen felt as if his head was about to split open. A powerful will rushed into his mind, affecting his soul. It was as if there was a voice in the depths of his soul telling him to submit to the other party. Boom. His terrifying primordial monarch body fell to his knees in the void with a loud boom. Heavens, what did I just see? The people in the distance all went crazy. Lin Xian ordered, and the other party knelt. What kind of attack was this? Tyranny also felt their hair stand on end. Was this guy crazy? He roared as he attacked with his tyrannical sword. 5 swords to protect him. He looked into the other party's eyes, his face filled with fear. Was this an eye technique? Lin Xian's expression was cold, like the divine king. He turned to stare at Tyranny and said coldly, "Submit." Tyranny felt as if their soul was about to split open. He roared madly, and a peerless sword light flashed between his eyebrows, protecting his soul and resisting the attack. In the next moment he spat out blood and flew backwards. He didn't submit, but his soul was still injured. This was the heavenly secret divine eyes, and Lin Xian had comprehended it. After obtaining the first 12 heavenly secret diagrams, his heavenly secret divine eyes had increased in power. No matter how strong these two were, they probably couldn't block his eye technique. Lin Xian was very satisfied. His eye technique had become stronger than before, and now he could defeat a mid-stage holy king. Dark Star's physique was strong, but his soul was average, so when he ordered, the other party was instantly hit. As for Tyranny, he was a peerless blade master. Blade masters and blade masters had very strong wills, and their souls were far stronger than others. However, although the other party didn't submit, he was still injured. In the blink of an eye, the alliance formed by these two experts was broken. Countless people gasped in shock. This guy was too strong. Perhaps only Zhang Songxing could fight him. Damn brat. Tyranny roared madly. On the other side, Dark Star recovered. After all, he had the immemorial imperial body, and his bloodline was extraordinary. Even though he was hit, he woke up in an instant. When he realized that he had knelt and submitted to the other party, he was so angry that his lungs were about to burst. Damn it, I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you. This was the second time he had lost to Lin Xian. As a top genius with the immemorial imperial body, he wouldn't allow himself to lose like this. His eyes were bloodshot, and the laws on his body were about to burn. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Was this guy crazy? Good, his soul attack could completely control the other party. Heavenly secret god eyes glowed again. You want to kill me? Come, then let's kill. An ant like you can't even block a finger of mine. What right do you have to challenge me? Also, I'm not here, I'm there. Defeating him is defeating me. Lin Xian's eyes glowed with a golden light, and he pointed at Tyranny. His eye technique had many attacks now. It could directly attack the other party's soul, or it could instantly create illusions to control the other party's soul, and even change the other party's memories. At this moment, Lin Xian controlled the other party's soul. Lin Xian disappeared from Dark Star's eyes. Instead, Tyranny became Lin Xian. He roared and charged at Tyranny like a madman. His fists swung, and the world trembled. Tyranny felt this power, and their faces turned cold. Are you crazy? He sent out a peerless sword light. Damn brat, I'll kill you. I'll definitely kill you. Dark Star roared madly as he attacked, clashing with Tyranny. Tyranny's face was cold. He knew that this guy had fallen for an illusion. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He also charged over, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. In reality, Tyranny didn't know that he had also fallen for an illusion. Lin Xian's eye technique had already affected him. Although he was a peerless blade master, he was too arrogant, and didn't put anything in his eyes. Lin Xian used his eye technique to magnify this arrogance, so at this moment, Tyranny also attacked wildly. Under normal circumstances, he should have left quickly. But he didn't. Watching the two fight, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the 8 strands of universe energy and absorbed them all. At this moment, his power surged wildly. At the same time, he took out half of the treasures he had collected before and devoured them. Chapter 45-31. Lin Xian felt that there were signs of a breakthrough, but it was still not enough. He was now at the peak of the sacred venerate realm. One more step and he would be a half-step sacred ruler. However, Lin Xian did not plan to stop there. He wanted to break through to the sacred ruler realm in one go. It was not enough. He needed more power. Lin Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings. He wanted to search for more Qiankuan Qi or other natural treasures. Elder Luqin looked into the distance and found the 2 geniuses of ethereal peak fighting. And that guy was still searching. Damn it. She charged out because she found that the 6 demonic shadows beside Lin Xian were fighting with the experts of the other grotto heavens. This way, there would be no demonic shadows to protect him. It was also a good opportunity for her to kill him. As a young elder, she had long reached the mid-stage of the sacred ruler realm. Her status and identity could be said to be unparalleled. However, she was chased by a sacred venerate and the news even spread. It made her feel ashamed. Today, she would use his life to wash away all of this. Lin Xian had obtained 8 strands of Qiankuan Qi, which made countless people envious. Many people were ready to attack. Lin Xian's gaze swept across, causing these people to be terrified. In that instant, their souls seemed to have been destroyed. This person also knew a terrifying eye technique? It was too terrifying. Why do I feel that his eyes are not weaker than Zhan Zongsheng's spirit-exterminating eyes? Leave quickly. This person is not to be trifled with. Many experts quickly retreated, but a figure charged over. The sound of the zither turned into a terrifying divine sword, piercing through heaven and earth. Elder Luqin charged over, bringing with her endless sound that swept over quickly. This was also a soul attack. It was extremely powerful. Kid, I'll let you experience my 7 slaughter demonic sound. Elder Luqin was extremely powerful. She turned into 7 phantoms and enveloped Lin Xian. Every illusory figure had a guqin, and they were playing it non-stop. The sounds coming from the zither were different. Some were terrifying, like thunder descending. Some were low, like the autumn leaves falling. Some were filled with endless killing intent, while others were filled with terrifying flames. Different soul attacks exploded between heaven and earth. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people frantically retreated. This attack was too terrifying. They had heard that Elder Lu Qin was able to fight against 3 cultivators of the same cultivation with the 7 slaughtering demonic sound. Such a person was simply undefeatable. Lin Xian frowned as he felt the sound of the zither coming from all directions. In the next moment he sneered and the divine map in his eyes bloomed. Golden light circled around him, forming a powerful soul defense. He could already tell that the so-called 7 slaughter demonic sound was merely 7 different powers. It was indeed a soul attack, a terrifying attack. If it was indeed difficult for her to deal with before, she even had to use the devil shadow to fight. However, things were different now. His heavenly secret divine eyes were much stronger than before. Facing the 7 kills demonic zither, he was not afraid at all. Go to hell, Brett. Elder Lu Qin snorted coldly, and the 7 phantoms spoke in unison. The sound of the magic zither burst in a frenzy. The area in front of them had turned into a land of death. No one dared to move forward. Anyone who got close would have their soul destroyed. Boundless golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes and turned into sharp swords that swept in all directions. Although your soul attack is powerful, it can't compete with mine. The light in Lin Xian's eyes swept out. His terrifying soul power was like a vast ocean that swept across the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone went crazy. How can this guy's eye technique be so terrifying? Zhan Zongxing, who was fighting for treasures in the distance, also turned his head abruptly. His exterminating spirit eyes turned into the light of destruction. Heavenly secret eyes. He also has the heavenly secret eyes. Damn it, is he from the heavenly secret clan? Or did he get the Rinnegan? At the thought of this, he madly rushed over. Your opponent is me. Xue Qi took a step forward, bringing with her boundless black frost that froze everything. Just you? You want to stop me? The exterminating spirit eyes were unleashed, and the boundless frost instantly melted. However, the frost around Xue Qi was still there. After all, she had the 9-yin body. Although Xue Qi had just arrived and her cultivation was not as strong as her opponent's, however, it was impossible for the enemy to completely destroy it. Zhan Zongxing was taken aback. Someone could block his eye? Or you are from the paradise, right? I am ordering you to get lost. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Zhan Zongxing did not have time to pay attention to him, as he was too anxious. He must capture him and ask him about his secrets. Xue Qi said, Zhan Zongxing, you are ranked first in the ethereal plane. Now, I also want to experience how powerful you are. You don't have the qualifications to destroy everything. His eye blossomed with radiance, and wherever it passed, heaven and earth would be destroyed. Xue Qi felt great pressure, and her face turned pale. She kept retreating. Xue Qi unleashed his 9-yin body to its pinnacle, and boundless frost condensed around him. He is so powerful. Xue Qi used the 9-yin ice to protect her soul, and her face turned pale. Fortunately, she had the 9-yin body. Otherwise, if it was her previous self, if she had been in the past, she would have been destroyed by his eye. Elder brother Xian is so powerful. He is unexpectedly able to fight against such a person. Xue Qi took a deep breath, and she took out a formation to fight against him. She had set up this formation before, and now, she could finally put it to good use. Trifling formations couldn't withstand a single blow. Xue Qi unleashed his exterminating spirit eyes once again. The 2 formations turned into nothingness, and the people in the surroundings were stunned. Isn't that fairy Xue Qi? Why is he fighting against Zhan Zongxing? It's a pity, as it is said that fairy Xue Qi has already become a saint king. However, she is still unable to contend against Zhan Zongxing. Many sighs could be heard. Xue Qi instantly fell into a disadvantageous position, and the 1,000 Mountain Paradise's elders felt their scalps go numb. They wanted to help Xue Qi, but they did not dare to do so, as they were worried that Xue Qi would die. He was really nervous to the extreme. At this moment, a terrifying roar echoed through heaven and earth, and it charged toward Zhan Zongxing. Zhan Zongxing used his exterminating spirit eyes to destroy it. A toad's figure appeared. Lad, let me teach you a lesson. The toad jumped out. He knew that Xue Qi was trying to stop Zhan Zongxing from joining Elder Lu Qin. If that happened, Lin Xian would be in great danger. How dare a trifling toad act so arrogantly in front of me? Zhan Zongxing unleashed his exterminating light once again. He was really angry, and he would surely destroy his opponent's star soul. The toad quickly dodged, and it was sent flying. However, it did not shatter. Some marks appeared on its body, but it did not split open. Damn it! What kind of body does this toad have? How can it block my exterminating spirit eyes? The toad roared in pain. Lad, you have thoroughly infuriated me. I will let you know how powerful I am. It charged forward, and all kinds of poison laws danced in heaven and earth. However, the exterminating spirit eyes were really powerful, and even though Xue Qi had a 9-yin body and a formation, she was still unable to suppress him. Even with the toad, she was unable to suppress Zhan Zongxing. She was even at a disadvantage. Chapter 45-32. At this moment, a figure appeared behind Zhan Zongxing and turned into a small monkey. A claw slapped his face. Zhan Zongxing was stunned. This was dizziness. This was something he had never felt before in his life. His soul had been knocked out? What a joke! He had the exterminating spirit eyes. But he had really been knocked out. Although it was only for a second, it had still shocked him. Xue Qi and Toad were experts. 1 second was enough for them to launch thousands of attacks. The two of them instantly attacked, and the terrifying power sent Zhan Zongxing flying. Boom, boom, boom. Zhan Zongxing's body fell down and shattered the endless mountain range. No way, the two of them had really forced Zhan Zongxing to retreat? Everyone was in disbelief. The people of Ethereal Peak were all stunned. That was the #1 Zhan Zongxing. How did these people do it? Lin Xian looked at this scene and laughed. It seems that guy won't help you. Elder Lu Qin snorted coldly. Do I need his help to kill you? You were able to escape earlier because you had the demon shadow. Now that the demon shadow isn't by your side, killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. As they spoke, the 7 figures attacked together, and the void in front of them kept breaking. The huge soul whirlpool made everyone feel despair. Lin Xian stood there, and golden light burst out from his eyes. He turned into a golden flame and flew out. It carried a destructive aura. The golden flame turned into a golden crow in the air. Boom! Under the influence of this soul fire, all of the zither music disappeared. How was this possible? How could this guy's eye technique be so powerful? He was just a Saint Venerable. How could his soul be comparable to a mid-stage Saint King? Elder Lu Qin was extremely shocked. She gritted her teeth. This person couldn't continue to grow. And she realized that his eyes were very similar to the Tianji divine eyes. Was this person from the Tianji clan? If that was the case, then all the more she couldn't let him live. Suppress him. She attacked with all her strength. Demonic music came from the 7 killing demon zither. It turned into 7 phantoms like a demon god. Some were wearing battle armor, some were holding sharp swords. They stood in the void and attacked Lin Xian. This was the strongest attack of the 7 kills heavenly demon sound. If you were a late-stage Saint King, I would have retreated. But you are only a mid-stage Saint King. You are no match for me. Lin Xian sneered. This completely infuriated the 7 demonic shadows in the sky. That demonic godlike figure roared madly and charged over. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes grew colder and colder. Heavenly fate shatter. As his voice fell, a pair of golden eyes appeared between heaven and earth, overlooking all living things. The light emitted from those eyes enveloped the 7 demon gods. Thereafter, the entire space shattered completely. The bodies of the other demon gods split apart and disappeared. Elder Lu Qin spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. The 7 phantoms disappeared, and only her real body appeared. Her face was pale. She didn't dare believe it. How could this be? The other party had broken her ultimate art with a single glance? Tianji god eyes. You have Tianji eyes. Kill him quickly. He got the Rinnegan. Elder Lu Qin roared madly. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Is the Rinnegan in his body? Many people looked over at him, their faces filled with shock. Lin Xian's face became gloomy and he snorted coldly. You are courting death. The golden eyes enveloped Elder Lu Qin as the Tianji shatter erupted. As Elder Lu Qin retreated, her arms turned into a bloody mist. If it weren't for the zither blocking her soul would have already been extinguished. Her arms hung limply by her side. The soul on her arms had been shattered. It would be extremely difficult for her to recover. She was so frightened that she roared and quickly fled. You should leave first. As Lin Xian looked at the fiery red eyes around him, his expression became ice cold. There will probably be a difficult battle today. He transmitted his voice to Xue Qi and the toad. When the two of them heard him, their expressions became grave. Leave quickly. The toad shouted as it jumped up and flew into the distance. Xue Qi also knew that she wouldn't be able to fight in the following battle. If she stayed here, she would just let Lin Xian create a clone. This was why she also left the battlefield. Zhang Cangsheng charged over. Lad, your eyes are mine. He was extremely crazy. The Tianji divine eyes and the opponent's exterminating spirit eyes looked at each other. Soon after, the power between the two of them exploded. One of them could shatter heaven and earth, while the other could destroy everything. The collision of their soul powers brought about an endless storm. The surrounding people who were charging over instantly fell from the sky. Some of them had their souls injured, while some had their souls extinguished. Get lost. Lin Xian roared as he forced Zhang Cangsheng to retreat. At the same time, he punched out. Zhang Cangsheng quickly dodged. Hateful. His opponent's eye techniques weren't any weaker than his, and his physique was stronger than his. He also had a terrifying sword technique. His opponent was like Zhang Cangsheng, Tyranny, and Dark Star working together. When these three great techniques were gathered on a single person, it was really terrifying. Lin Xian's expression was ice cold as he looked disdainfully at the surroundings. He said coldly, "The heaven and earth qi in this place is all mine. Anyone who tries to take it from me will die." A terrifying voice resounded. Lin Xian's body emitted a golden radiance, and his killing intent was astonishing. He directly charged out. The surrounding people retreated in fright, while some of them were angry. Just by you. Among them, there was no lack of experts from the older generation. They didn't believe that he could be so strong. Everyone attacked together. No matter how strong he is, he's just one person. I don't believe that he can defy the heavens. Countless people charged over, using all kinds of divine abilities. They injured some people, and then their divine bodies opened and closed. Sword chi swept out in all directions. However, there were too many people. Lin Xian used the void escape and quickly dodged. Great, he escaped. He's no match for us. These people seemed to have won, and they quickly chased after Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. His heavenly secret god eyes were activated to the extreme. Wherever his gaze passed, he began to control those demonic shadows. The demonic shadows roared, but the power of reincarnation in his eyes controlled them. One demonic shadow, two demonic shadows. Dozens of demonic shadows were controlled, and the number was still increasing. Lin Xian could control 6 demonic shadows before. However, after he comprehended the heavenly secret map, his eye technique increased by more than 10 times. So now, Lin Xian could control dozens of demonic shadows without any effort. These demonic shadows roared into the sky and charged over crazily, fighting with the experts of the surrounding grotto heavens. Not only that, Lin Xian controlled hundreds of demonic shadows in the end. His face was pale and he frowned slightly. Obviously, it had consumed a lot of his energy. However, he couldn't care less. This time, he had to succeed. After absorbing the natural treasures, Lin Xian ordered the hundreds of demonic shadows to attack. These demonic shadows joined forces, roared, and attacked quickly. They fought with the people of the grotto heavens. No one dared to attack Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly collected the Chengkuan Qi between heaven and earth. The power in his body was increasing. Chapter 45-33. Zhan Songxing roared. He was also trapped by the demonic shadows. The others were the same. Moreover, the 10 great sage in front attacked Qiankuan ancient city together, causing a peerless array to appear. The power of the array was still spreading, and it was getting stronger and stronger. It also affected the heaven and earth. Other than the peerless array, all the Qiankuan qi that appeared nearby was all taken by Lin Xian. This was a shocking amount. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years the Qiankuan qi had existed. Every one of them was extremely terrifying. At this moment, all of them gathered on Lin Xian. It was really terrifying. Lin Xian felt that his divine body was about to split open. This powerful force made him have to break through quickly. With a roar, Lin Xian stopped resisting. At this moment, the power in his body exploded, connecting the heaven and earth. In the sky, endless thunder clouds filled the air, forming terrifying thunder and lightning. Not good, he was about to break through. Seeing this scene, many people's eyes turned red. Once he broke through, the Qiankuan qi would completely disappear and become the other party's power. They would not be able to take it anymore. Damn it! With a roar, an extremely sharp light burst out from Zhan Songsheng's eyes, forming an array and sending it out. At the same time, the elders of Ethereal Peak received the news. Suddenly, a few figures descended from the sky. They walked out of the array. Not good, it's the experts of Ethereal Peak. Let's move out too. The surrounding experts did the same. This time, they wanted to summon the terrifying existence of a late sage king. Boom! The late sage king of Ethereal Peak was the first to move out. As soon as they descended, they swept out in all directions. It was a woman. Her expression was cold, and she suppressed hundreds of demonic shadows with one hand. This was the difference in cultivation realm. No matter how strong these demonic shadows were, they could not do anything to a late sage king. The second late sage king appeared. It was a man in a blue robe. He was extraordinary, and his body was covered in starlight. He was from the star tribe. When he appeared, he formed a star map that filled the sky. He completely sealed those demonic shadows. The appearance of the two late sage kings solved the current crisis. At the same time, late sage kings appeared in those grotto heavens. After they arrived, their powerful auras suppressed the entire area. Everyone's gaze shifted toward Lin Xian. Elder, kill him. Those from the White Cloud Wonderland and the Violet Spirit Wonderland gnashed their teeth. Said Zhan Songsheng. Elder, suppress him. He might have obtained the reincarnation eyes. Rinnegan? An extremely cold light burst out from their eyes. They had to get it. It belonged to their misty peak. The two late-stage great sage kings walked up, suppressing the heaven and earth, shattering the endless void. The other holy kings of the paradise walked over as well. When Xueqi saw this scene, she became extremely nervous. What should she do? Lin Xian is really in danger. The toad also cried out in alarm. This brat should be fine, right? And, tell me, did you get the Rinnegan? The two great sage late-stage king realm experts stared at Lin Xian, their voices piercingly cold. At this moment, Lin Xian's power was exploding out continuously as he prepared to go through the tribulation with all his might. Who would care about such a thing? Seeing that Lin Xian didn't answer, the blue-robed man snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, the starry sky map flew over. He wanted to completely seal Lin Xian. At this moment, thunder in the sky struck down. With a crack, the starry sky map shook. The late-stage Saint King's expression changed. Not good. This doesn't seem to be an ordinary tribulation. He wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. The lightning in the sky struck down. It was blood-red thunder. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions. In an instant he was sent flying. Not good. The woman beside him also retreated quickly. The experts from the other paradises also fled. A terrifying light burst out from Lin Xian's eyes. Since you're here, don't leave. He strode forward, and the thunder in the sky followed him, killing in all directions. Damn brat, don't come over. The two experts of the Misty Peak roared crazily. Lin Xian sneered. Don't you want to kill me? You want to suppress me? Come on. His body split open, and golden blood dripped down. But he still didn't go. The two late-stage great sage vomited blood. They were facing their own tribulation, which was much more terrifying than that brat's. Sure enough, the thunder that attacked Lin Xian was only as big as an arm. But the lightning that attacked the two of them was as big as a mountain. In an instant, the two of them were split in half. "You've also attacked me, haven't you?" Lin Xian's face was pale. He was severely injured, but he still didn't stop. He charged towards the other paradises. Those people's scalps went numb. They were also struck by lightning. In an instant, all kinds of roars sounded. The front was enveloped by a sea of lightning, and the others quickly retreated. What kind of thunder was this? Even the great sage who was trapped by the array changed his expression drastically. This was terrifying thunder. This wasn't a thunder tribulation, but a punishment from the heavens. He was a person abandoned by the heavens. An extremely terrifying light burst out from the eyes of these great sage. They no longer had the chance to pay attention to it, because this peerless array was a greater threat to them. The punishment from the heavens was very terrifying. Lin Xian's body seemed to be about to shatter. At this moment, a corner of the array appeared in Qiankuan ancient city again, covering heaven and earth. The punishment from the heavens slowly disappeared and was replaced by normal thunder. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. If the punishment from the heavens descended, he would definitely die. Fortunately, this was an ancient city related to the great emperor. The great emperor's array appeared and blocked the punishment from the heavens. The punishment from the heavens became a thunder tribulation. Although the heavenly tribulation of a saint king was terrifying, Lin Xian was confident that he could deal with it. He broke through in the sea of lightning. His strength gradually increased, and it didn't take long for him to reach the half-step Saint King realm. Moreover, it was still increasing. A powerful force surged out from his body. He was about to break through to the Saint King realm. Boom! At this moment, the arena in the sky bloomed with light. Endless thunder intertwined, forming a human-shaped lightning. He floated in the void, suppressing everything. His eyes were like two bolts of thunder. He looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian retreated as if he was struck by lightning. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. What was this? It was too terrifying. The others also felt it. What had appeared again? They couldn't see it, only the sea of lightning that filled the sky. They didn't see the human-shaped lightning. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably solemn. This human-shaped lightning was too terrifying, and it had a supreme aura. It was even formed by the great emperor's array. Could it be that this was a young great emperor? Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely cold light. No wonder it was like this. He used the great emperor's aura to change the heavenly secrets. However, there was another test, and that was to merge the great emperor's aura with the thunder to form a young great emperor at the Saint King realm. If he couldn't pass this test, he would also die. Come on! Lin Xian roared. He knew that he didn't need to defeat the other party. As long as he could withstand it, he could pass this test. He had successfully broken through to the Saint King realm. Chapter 45-34. With a roar, Lin Xian's body shone with a golden light as he transformed into a peerless god of war. On the other side, the human figure's lightning surged. There was an extremely terrifying light in his eyes. Runes flickered and formed 6 reincarnation runes. 6 vortexes appeared on his body, seemingly connecting to 6 worlds. Rinnegan, 6 paths physique. This was the heaven and earth great emperor. Lin Xian felt his scalp go numb. This was too terrifying. Boom! He punched out with an indomitable will, shattering the world. Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. He had seen this fist technique before. The great sage had used it before. This was the 6 paths fist. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He used the 9 suns divine fist to fight against it. The two of them were like 2 worlds colliding. Endless light swept in all directions. The great Tao there was intertwining like thunder. Boom! Their fists collided, and then they both retreated. Endless cracks appeared in front of them, and then they charged forward again. Every time they collided, the power was astonishing. The two of them kept attacking. 9 suns divine body against 6 paths physique. The people in the distance were shocked. Was that guy fighting with someone? They didn't know. But this scene was probably much stronger than the immemorial king physique. Boom. This guy's physique was actually so strong. Was this the great emperor? Lin Xian felt as if his entire body was about to split open. The other party's fist was really too strong, pressing forward with indomitable will. Many cracks appeared on his divine body, but they recovered in an instant. He also roared, and 9 suns surrounded his body as he kept attacking. After a great battle, the human figure retreated and did not attack again. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. However, he knew that it was not over. Because next, an extremely terrifying light erupted from the other party's eyes. Rinnegan. At this moment, the people outside felt a chill down their spines, as if a god was looking down at them. Their souls were about to split open. Damn it, what was this? Some of the people who entered the town were shocked. This aura was too similar to the Rinnegan. Could it be that the Rinnegan had appeared? They stared at thunder in front of them, their faces full of shock. However, no one knew exactly what had happened. They gritted their teeth anxiously. There were a few people who disregarded everything and rushed over. However, they triggered heaven overflowing lightning tribulation, blasted until their bodies were covered in blood. The others felt their blood run cold and no longer dared to rashly approach. Lin Xian felt an immense pressure on his soul. It was as if heaven and earth were being reversed, forcing him into the cycle of reincarnation. Fight. He gritted his teeth and let out a roar. His heavenly secret divine eyes shone brightly as a terrifying golden light swept across the area. At the same time, terrifying sword chi surged from his body, turning into a sword-to-world that floated around him. Lin Xian used all his means to resist the eye of reincarnation, the eye of samsara. Every gaze contained a danger that could reverse the universe. Lin Xian had no choice but to resist with all his strength. Even so, he was still coughing up blood and his face was pale. Fortunately, the great dragon sword's soul could destroy everything. It cut off those gazes and only then could they resist. In the end, the eye of reincarnation withdrew its light. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Was it finally over? However, he realized that there was still one last move. When the eye of reincarnation and the 6 paths physique appeared in one person, a peerless divine ability would appear. The 6 paths of reincarnation. 6 worlds surrounded Lin Xian, constantly sweeping and enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed to have really fallen into the cycle of reincarnation. This was a heaven-defying power. Even with his divine body and heavenly secret divine eyes, he could not resist it. He roared at the sky and attacked with all his strength. The great dragon sword's soul flew out and was held in his hand, sweeping in all directions. He kept walking through the 6 worlds. Finally, he cut open the sky with a sword and charged out. His body was stained with blood, but the aura on his body kept increasing. At this moment, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Everyone thought that the end of the world had arrived. After the 6 paths of reincarnation, the human figure did not attack again. Instead, it slowly disappeared. The phantoms of the 6 worlds also disappeared. Finally, the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation flew into Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's body shook. The injuries he had suffered before were instantly healed. His aura also kept rising. With a boom, he finally entered the Holy King realm. His strength continued to grow. Too powerful. Once he broke through to the Holy King realm, he would surpass everything. A Holy King could kill a half-step Holy King. One finger could kill dozens of half-step Holy Kings. This was the gap between the realms. It was an insurmountable gap. Lin Xian had a heaven-defying trump card. That was why he could fight those of a higher realm. Now that he had become a true Holy King, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. He could probably kill those below the Holy King realm with just a glance. Those of the same realm could not withstand one move from him. Even Dao Mingchen and tyranny could be suppressed with one hand now. These people were no match for him. Lin Xian could only fight someone like Elder Lu Qin to a draw when he went all out. But now, he could definitely destroy the other party's soul easily. Lin Xian felt an extremely powerful force. In other words, ordinary mid-stage holy kings were no match for him. Only mid-stage holy kings, extremely powerful existences, could. Lin Xian was even confident that he could compete with late-stage holy kings. This is great. Holy Monarch Star Palace, your time of death has come. Lin Xian would not forget that he still had enemies in the Thousand Mountain Cave. This time, when he returned, he would kill them with his sword. As the figure disappeared, the Qinkuan ancient city shook again. The peerless array was completely activated. The great sages also coughed up mouthfuls of blood. Not good. They attacked with all their might, tearing open the array and escaping quickly. With a roar, the surrounding people left frantically. The Qinkuan ancient city was completely sealed. Once the great emperor's array appeared, no one could resist. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Xue Qi and the toad. He used the void escape and quickly left this place. Everyone was running away. Most of the Qinkuan ancient city was sealed and returned to the ground. The endless earth rolled and cracked. Some people managed to escape successfully, while others were suppressed there forever. Most probably, they could forget about coming out in this lifetime. After greeting the elders, Zhang Zongxing and the others were taken away by the experts. The woman's expression was cold, and the man's expression was extremely ugly. He had been severely injured. Damn it, where was that brat? He was going crazy with anger. He must catch that brat and tear him into pieces. Just now, the aura of the Rinnegan appeared. It must be that brat. Zhang Zongxing said quickly. You wait, I'll go and report to the old ancestor. The two elders quickly transmitted their voices to each other. Not long after, a great sage descended. This was a great sage of the star race. After he arrived, he looked around and a starry sky map covered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. They felt that every star had turned into eyes and was probing them. Chapter 45-35. He instantly changed his appearance and put on a set of black armor. His aura was completely different from before. With the heavenly secret divine eyes and the great dragon sword soul, the great sage couldn't find out who he was. As expected, the great sage took back the starry sky map and shook his head. He couldn't find him. Did that kid disappear? Go, send people to seal off this area. I don't believe that he can escape. The Misty Peaks people moved quickly. With the great sage overseeing it, they sent countless experts to seal off the area. However, Lin Xian had already returned to his original appearance. He used the great dragon sword soul to destroy his aura and safely walked out of the area. The toad and Whitey stayed in the great sage pagoda and heaved a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, you found me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to escape. Xian smiled, then took to the air and flew to the Thousand Mountain Cave. Xue Qi had already returned and was waiting anxiously in the Thousand Mountain Paradise. When she saw that Lin Xian had returned, she also heaved a sigh of relief. I need to cultivate in seclusion for a while. Don't let them disturb me. After Lin Xian returned, he started cultivating in seclusion once again. He had just broken through to the Great Sage King realm and needed to consolidate his cultivation. Xue Qi ordered that no one was to disturb him and set up a formation. This time, she had also gained something. Moreover, before she started cultivating in seclusion, Lin Xian had given her many treasures. Therefore, she also started cultivating in seclusion. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. In the past half a year, the news about Qinkuan ancient city had spread all over. Everyone was crazily discussing the Rinnegan Eye and the legend of the great emperor. However, no matter how hard they searched, they still couldn't find the mysterious red-robed man. It was as if he had disappeared and would never appear again. The Heavenly Caves people had suffered heavy losses. The Misty Peak was so angry that they vomited blood. Many of their geniuses had died, and even a few of their elders had died. Some of their elders had also been injured. More importantly, the 10 great sages had been able to fight back against the Grand Emperor's spell formation. Although it was only a corner of the Great Emperor's formation, the 10 great sage were still injured. Now, he was cultivating in seclusion with all his might. The legend of the Qianquan ancient city continued. On Lin Xian's side, everything was calm and tranquil. Xue Qi's mansion had already regained its tranquility. On this day, the wind and clouds changed. Thunder fell from the sky. Who was it? Was he about to break through? The people in the mansion were extremely surprised. Immediately after, a sky full of lightning descended, shaking the 9 heavens. Even the paradise's people were alarmed. Could it be that Xue Qi was about to make another breakthrough? How long had it been, and the other party was already about to make a breakthrough? They felt like they were going crazy. In another palace, Xue Qi and Lin Xian were sitting there and drinking tea. They seemed quite relaxed. The lightning tribulation was formed by the two of them using a formation. This was because Lin Xian had previously been a holy venerate. When he returned, he would be a holy ruler. He had to find an explanation. This was why Lin Xian had found an excuse to use the thunder formation. He wanted everyone to know that he had made a breakthrough and become a holy ruler in the Thousand Mountain Paradise. This way, no one would suspect that he was the red-robed man. In the past half a year, Lin Xian had already consolidated his cultivation. Moreover, he had also absorbed the reincarnation power. Now, the reincarnation power contained in his heavenly secret divine eyes was even greater. This made him overjoyed. The lightning tribulation lasted for half a month before it slowly disappeared. Many people rushed over to congratulate him. They quickly discovered that it wasn't Xue Qi who had made a breakthrough, but Lin Xian. This surprised many people. Damn it! Did this guy also make a breakthrough and become a holy ruler? The eyes of some paradise's geniuses turned red. They were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They hadn't even made a breakthrough, yet this battle servant had already made a breakthrough? Damn it! Xue Qi must have given him countless resources. That's why he could make a breakthrough so quickly. He's just a battle servant, yet he's really lucky. If those resources were given to me, I would have already made a breakthrough. All of them gnashed their teeth as they spoke. However, there was nothing they could do. As expected, no one doubted Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was able to come here from another world. His talent was already top-notch. If he had the countless resources given by Xue Qi, it wouldn't be a problem for him to make a breakthrough. When Saint King Xingchen heard this news, his face turned gloomy. It seemed that he had underestimated Lin Xian. In his estimation, it was impossible for Lin Xian to make a breakthrough and become a holy ruler so quickly. Who would have thought that Lin Xian would actually do it? This made him feel a sense of danger. However, after thinking about it, he sneered. He was now a mid-stage holy ruler, but he was still a terrifying existence. In another 100 years, he would be able to make a breakthrough and become a late-stage holy ruler. So what if Lin Xian had made a breakthrough? If he wanted to kill an early-stage holy ruler, he could do it with a single finger. Lin Xian would never be a match for him. However, the abominable news came from the Misty Peak. Previously, the people sent by the Star Tribe to kill Lin Xian had all died. It was really strange. Could it be that someone from the Thousand Mountain Paradise was secretly helping him? Saint King Xingchen was ready to investigate properly. Now that a year's time was almost up, he wanted to see how Lin Xian would kill him. The corners of Saint King Xingchen's mouth curled up into a smile. He didn't forget that Lin Xian had threatened to fight him in a year's time. What a stupid ant. There were still 2 months' time. Saint King Xingchen decided to make some preparations. He had to spread the news and create an atmosphere to let everyone in the Thousand Mountain Paradise know about this duel. Otherwise, if Lin Xian went back on his word, he wouldn't be able to make a move. Soon, he secretly ordered someone to spread the news. 3 days later, everyone in the Thousand Mountain Paradise was stunned. Heavens, what did you say? Saint King Xingchen wants to have a death match with Lin Xian? This isn't a joke, right? No, you're wrong. It's Lin Xian who wants to have a death match with Saint King Xingchen. It's these guys who issued the challenge. Moreover, it was a year ago. Damn, is this guy crazy? Where did his confidence come from? Does he think that he's a match for Saint King Xingqian after making a breakthrough? Discussions broke out one after another. Countless people were shocked. This was a scene of certain death. After hearing this, some elders sneered. It seemed that Saint King Xingqian would also kill Lin Xian. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let the news spread. The eyes of the sagely heaven's old ancestors people lit up when they heard this. This was a good opportunity to suppress the other party. Although they had helped Lin Xian win in the marriage contest, it didn't mean that they would always support Lin Xian. Because Lin Xian was now considered to be on Black Ice ancestors' side, they naturally had to suppress him. Taking advantage of this opportunity to get rid of this brat, it would be a heavy blow to Black Ice ancestor. Chapter 45-36. If he killed Lin Xian, Xueqi would definitely get angry and seek revenge on the Sacred Star ruler. Then he would find an opportunity to kill Xueqi. In that case, the genius of the mysterious ice lineage would lose his advantage. The corners of the Yanmo's mouth curled into a cold smile. He hurriedly informed his father, the Sacred Heaven's old ancestor. The Sacred Heaven's old ancestor was still in seclusion. He had also made a move in the Qiankuan ancient city and gotten injured. When he heard the news, he said, "I'll leave this matter to you. When it's time for the death match, I'll go back and take a look." The Yanmo received the order and went to make the arrangements. Before long, the people of the Thousand Mountain Grotto and the other grotto heavens found out about this matter. They even invited people from other grotto heavens to watch. In an instant, the discussion about this matter became even more intense. Hearing this, Xianhai's face changed. Although he was very opposed to this marriage, he was still very much against it. He wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Xian with his own hands. However, things were different now. Lin Xian had already won the contest. If he was killed by the Sacred Star ruler in front of everyone, it would be a slap to their faces. Furthermore, they also realized that the Sacred Star ruler wasn't the only one involved. The Yanmo and the Sacred Heaven's old ancestor were also involved. This was even more unusual. If things went wrong, they might be trampled underfoot by the other party. It would be very difficult for them to make a comeback. Xianhai immediately went to Xueqi's residence. He felt that this was a trap. He wanted to ask if it was true. When he found out that it was really Lin Xian who had issued the challenge, he was thoroughly enraged. "Is this kid an idiot? Who do you think you are to challenge the Sacred Star ruler? Kid, I'll give you a chance. Hurry up and leave through the spatial array. Get out of this area. Come back in 10 years. Xianhai roared. No matter what, he wouldn't let Lin Xian die in the arena. Lin Xian sneered. Get out? Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around? If the other party hadn't been Xueqi's father, he would have already made a move. Xianhai was even more furious. How dare you talk to me with such an attitude? Do you have a death wish? The sky was filled with killing intent. Lin Xian sneered. This is my business. You don't have to worry about it. Besides, who said that I don't have the strength to kill him? Open your eyes wide and wait. I will make him fall on the life and death arena. Ignorant ants. Xianhai was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Could it be that this brat did not know the difference between Saint Kings? Do you think you can be arrogant just because you just broke through? How naive. Lin Xian sneered. He couldn't be bothered with this old man. Xueqi walked out and said, Father, don't worry. There shouldn't be any problems. Xianhai was about to faint from anger. How could his daughter say such words? Could it be that he had become stupid after following this kid? He snorted coldly, waved his sleeve, and left in a huff. He had to discuss this with Black Ice Ancestor. It would be best if she could seal this brat and suppress him. Black Ice Ancestor was also in seclusion. Previously, she had gone to Qiankuan Ancient City and was also injured. When he heard this, he had no choice but to come out of seclusion. This was indeed a very urgent matter. He ordered Xianhai to seal this brat and bring him over. When Xianhai returned to his mansion, he found that Lin Xian had disappeared. That damned brat, did he run away? Xianhai sneered. He thought that this brat had a backbone. He didn't expect him to be a coward. It was good that he ran away. If he ran away, he wouldn't come back. He ordered his men to go and investigate. Once they found that brat in Thousand Mountain Grotto, they would immediately take action. If that brat wanted to come in from outside Thousand Mountain Grotto, they would immediately stop him. In short, they would not let Lin Xian appear again. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. A life and death arena was set up in Thousand Mountain Grotto. It became completely lively, and countless people were extremely excited. They were all here to see a joke. Previously, all of them had dreamed of marrying Fairy Xueqi. Who would have thought that they would be defeated by Lin Xian in the martial competition for marriage? This made everyone gnash their teeth in anger. If young Master Chen had won back then, they would definitely not say anything, because he did have the strength and talent. However, he was defeated by a battle servant. This made them clench their teeth so hard that they almost broke. Countless times, they had dreamed of taking revenge and killing him with their own hands. Now, this brat was courting death and dared to challenge the elders of Star Palace? He even wanted to fight a life and death battle. He was definitely going to die. Even if they couldn't do anything, they would watch him die with their own eyes. Not only Thousand Mountain Grotto, but the young geniuses of other grotto heavens had also come. They were also here to see a joke. Even the people of Misty Peak had come. They were the people of Misty Peak and the Star Clan. Young Master Chen had come personally, and even Duguju had come. Thousand Mountain Grotto was also shocked, and the elders came out to welcome them. The 2 great sage also came out. Although they hadn't recovered from their injuries yet, they had come from Misty Peak. They had to come out. Countless people had gathered here. This scene was even more lively than the previous martial arts competition. How many moves do you think that brat can block? Are you kidding me? That brat is definitely going to die. He can't even block a single move. He's really an idiot. Does he think that he can be arrogant just because he has become a Saint King? Let's see how he's going to die this time. Cold laughter could be heard. The elders and experts in the surroundings also had different expressions. Some were laughing coldly, while others were worried. Xueqi stood there expressionlessly. She believed that Lin Xian wouldn't be defeated. At this moment, a figure flew over from afar. He was like a deity, and he carried the stars in the sky with him. He landed on the life and death arena. Countless people exclaimed. When the people of Star Clan saw this, they nodded slightly. This brat's strength had increased again. It seemed that he wasn't far from breaking through to the late Saint King realm. Previously, they didn't think highly of Elder Star Palace, but they didn't expect his talent to exceed their expectations. It seemed that after this life and death battle, they could call him back to his family. The elders of Star Clan nodded slightly. Young Master Chen clenched his fists. He wanted to see that brat die with his own eyes. When Lin Xian died, Xueqi would still be his. After Elder Star Palace arrived, he clasped his hands behind his back and waited silently. He wore a confident smile. With his strength, he could end this battle in just a second. Half a day passed, and the sun rose high in the sky, illuminating the land. However, there was only Elder Star Palace in the life and death arena. Lin Xian didn't appear. The crowd was getting impatient. What the fuck? Where is that brat? Why hasn't he come out yet? What is he doing? Could it be that he was afraid? Is he for real? He issued a challenge, and now he's afraid of going back on his word? What a joke! Even if I have to capture him, I will capture him and bring him to the arena. Many people were discussing this matter. Yen Mo sneered coldly, and he led his men to search for Lin Xian quickly. However, they searched the whole Thousand Mountain Cave, but they didn't find Lin Xian. Damn it, that guy didn't run away, did he? The crowd went into an uproar. They had come to watch the show, but that brat had run away. Chapter 45-37. Elder Yen Mo said coldly. Pass down the order to search for Lin Xian. Kill him if you see him. A cold voice sounded. Xian Hai frowned, but he didn't say anything. As long as he wasn't in the arena today, they could accept it even if he ran away. Xueqi stood out and said coldly, Elder Yen Mo, you're too impatient. You said that there would be a battle to the death today, but you didn't say when. Only half a day had passed. Don't you have any patience? Yen Mo sneered. It seemed like Xueqi was optimistic about this battle. Fine, I'll continue to wait. It's just a day. What's the big deal? After a day, Lin Xian's fate wouldn't change. Since Yen Mo had spoken, the others waited patiently. Finally, the sun was about to set. Everyone thought that Lin Xian wouldn't come. But at this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. He was very fast. At first, he was still far away, but in the blink of an eye, he was already in the sky. Countless people exclaimed when they saw someone coming. It's that kid. He's finally here. Is he here? Young Master Chen and the others' eyes lit up, and they smiled coldly. On the arena, Elder Xing Chen's eyes lit up. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Fine, I'll send him to hell personally. On the other side, Xian Hai's pupils shrank. How is it possible? Why is he here again? Damn it, didn't my subordinate stop him? He wanted to say something, but it was too late. Buzz. Lin Xian descended from the sky and landed on the arena. Boundless aura swept out in all directions. Kid, I didn't expect you to dare to come again. I think your brain is completely broken. I'll send you to hell personally. Elder Xing Chen's eyes shone with cold light as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Oh, why? Have you been waiting here for a long time? Are you really that impatient to die? I'll fulfill your wish." Lin Xian took a step forward, and his body emitted a powerful aura. The aura of a sage king spread out in all directions. Countless people were shocked. Did this kid break through? The eyes of some of the powerful beings from the grotto heavens turned red instantly. Damn it, he was just a saint venerable not long ago, and now he has broken through to become a saint king. Even geniuses like them couldn't achieve such a breakthrough speed. The aura of a saint king was indeed very strong. He had the right to be arrogant among the younger generation. Unfortunately, you found the wrong opponent. I'm not someone you can challenge. Sacred Star Monarch shook his head. Make your move. I'll give you a chance to go all out. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to fight again in this lifetime. A good show was about to begin. Countless eyes lit up. Xueqi was also nervous. Although Lin Xian was powerful, Elder Xing Chen was equally terrifying. This was a veteran Saint King. Moreover, he was already close to the late stage of the Saint King stage. You want me to make the first move? Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Then I won't stand on ceremony. He formed a seal with his palms, and a dazzling light burst forth. The man-ruler's seal slammed forward. Boom, boom. His power erupted. Instantly, countless people cried out in surprise. It was too powerful. This kid had just become a Saint King, and he was already so terrifying? Elder Xingchen was also shocked. His opponent's strength was beyond his imagination. The man-ruler's seal had already arrived in front of him and slammed down. His aura erupted again. Get lost. Elder Xingchen shouted angrily. He pointed out a finger, and a ray of starlight streaked across. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking could be heard. Countless large cracks spread out. Fortunately, the life and death arena was an ancient lightning platform. Therefore, it wasn't damaged. However, the surrounding people quickly retreated. Some of the young geniuses even vomited blood. They couldn't withstand this power at all. After this strike, countless people were in an uproar. They found that Elder Xingchen had been forced back. How could this be? Elder Xingchen was forced to retreat. Damn it. He was careless. He must have been careless. Countless roars rang out. The faces of the Star Tribe's people also darkened. Being forced back by a young man was really embarrassing. Elder Xingchen naturally knew this as well. His eyes were filled with an unparalleled killing intent. Kid, you've completely angered me. I'll make sure you die without a burial place. He was really angry. He decided to kill the other party in one move. Boom. He clenched his hand into a fist and pushed it out. Thousands of rays of starlight fell from the 9 heavens. Galaxy Fist. Countless people exclaimed. This was the Star Tribe's supreme superpower. They didn't expect the other party to use it right away. It seemed that he really intended to end the battle in an instant. Let's see how this kid dies. Lin Xian had seen this fist technique before. Young Master Chen had used it before. However, now that it was used by Elder Xingqian, its power was even more terrifying. It was as if a river of stars was charging over. Lin Xian was still not afraid. In the past, he was a saint venerable and could fight against a saint king. Now that he had become a true saint king, his strength was much stronger. In the next moment, he formed another seal with his palm and an even more powerful force erupted. Boom, boom, boom. His palm was like a divine king, standing tall and sweeping across the world, blocking the galaxy fist. Lin Xian said, "Your strength isn't that great. Could it be that you want to use this strength to kill me? What a joke." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. There was complete silence. They were really stunned. This guy could fight against Elder Xingqian? What kind of joke was this? Were they dreaming? What was this guy doing? Couldn't he even kill a piece of trash? The people of the Star Tribe gritted their teeth. Elder Xingqian was also stunned. The ant in his eyes had grown to such an extent? He could even block his fist technique. He roared like a god of the galaxy, crossing the sky. He threw a punch at Lin Xian. The terrifying aura was indomitable. Close combat. Lin Xian sneered. He had never been afraid of anyone. Even someone as strong as the immemorial imperial body was no match for him. Lin Xian charged over, his fists opening and closing. With the power of the divine body and various ultimate techniques, there was no way to dodge. In that instant, the two of them were like the sun splitting open. Terrifying light and laws swept in all directions. Boom, boom. Around the arena, countless arrays flickered. These were defensive arrays. But at this moment, they actually couldn't withstand it. Some places had already cracked. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people watching the battle quickly retreated. They really couldn't imagine that the battle would turn out like this. However, some battle servants secretly clenched their fists. Great, they eagerly hoped that Lin Xian could win. Because Lin Xian was the same as them. He came from another world and had been suppressed before. But the other party soared into the sky and even wanted to challenge the elders. Lin Xian seemed to have turned into their hope. If Lin Xian won, they could also see hope. In the blink of an eye, there had already been tens of thousands of collisions in front. Then, the two separated and stood on one side of the arena. Lin Xian's body was overflowing with light, his aura biting cold. On the other side, sacred King Xingqian's face was cold and furious. Both sides were evenly matched. He couldn't tolerate it. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.